1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. 1 minute, man. Crazy as fuck.
Sure. There you
No,
go.
man, let's go. Shit. Good. How y'all doing today? Tonight, this evening. Welcome to another fabulous edition of Hope Academy. We're going to have another banger of a class, talk about a lot of subjects pertaining to our growth, and really just continue to dig deep into leadership. So this prior 6 months, we were talking about our own ego, which was preparing us to get out the way of what's coming next. And that's how do we become the best leaders that we can be. So these are the true fundamentals of entrepreneurship. And it's not entrepreneurship recipe thinking. So whatever your business is, this applies, because the beauty about leaders is this. Anytime, in any arena, in any generation, I don't care, pick a year, pick a decade, pick a century. Whatever new technology is out there, technicians get scared. Fuck, this new is gonna take my job. So this new insert here is gonna take my job, right? Pick a generation, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, this new is going to take my job. So now the new buzzword is this new AI is going to take my job. Before it was robots is going to take my job. These machines are going to take my job. These immigrants are going to take my job. There's always something. That's when you know you're stuck in a technician space. But leaders are never afraid. You know why? Because there's never enough leaders. There's always a shortage of leaders. So if you want job security, money security, business security, financial security, you always work on being a good leader. Technology changes. You know it is. In 10 years, there's going to be some new shit. 20 years, there's going to be some new shit. So are you going to chase the new shit, which you can, or you can work on developing your leadership skills. In leadership, if you are a leader of humans, human beings are the one things that change very little. If somebody from 6,000 years ago rose from the dead and came into existence and started hanging out with us, you'll realize that they're exactly the same type of human that we are today. Fears, loves, drives, addictions, all the same shit. So if you are a great leader now, 20 years with new technology, people are going to be searching for you to be a great leader in the future. At my company, man, like we have a lot of great technicians. My biggest drive and desire is to build great leaders. I'm always looking for leaders, because a great leader can cut off a part of your organization and take ownership of it. And now you can delegate. Now I'm like, okay, I know that piece is covered. Just give me some updates. What you need help on? How can I make your job, your life a little easier over there? So remember that. Great leaders are never afraid. Great leaders are never afraid. So we're going to learn from the book, The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. That's the name of the book. So my apologies if you didn't get any that during the week last week, but that's the name of the book, 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. Because there's a few different types of books. All right. Next slide. Recap. So last week, we said we are in a state of emergency. Why are we in a state of emergency? Can anybody tell me? Why are we in a state of emergency? Because we are compromised. We compromised. There's a mole in our system. There's a mole in our group. So when you compromise, you move different. Because you don't necessarily know who or where, but you know you gotta be on your toes. Compromised. Right? It's like, when you were a kid, and maybe if you lived in the hood and you was playing in the park during the crack era, you playing in the park, you don't just run around gallivanting how you want. It might be some needles in that thing. You're playing, but you know that park is compromised. So you're a little more cautious. Compromised. You move different. I had to go, my mom used to make me go to the women's bathroom with her till I was like 10 years old. Because she knew Eastmont Mall was compromised. Right? When you compromised, you move different. So we are compromised in terms of our psychology. And there's times where we got to get serious about it. And if we want this thing, then we got to get serious about it. And when I say serious, I don't mean serious. I mean, we have to put our focus down on it in order for us to really practice and learn. And really practice and learn how to be the best versions of ourselves. Any questions about that? Anybody? Any questions about last week's class? Everybody cool? Everybody got it? All right, let's move. Hey, let's have fun. Let's have fun. We're going to be nice today. We're going to be nice today. We're going to be nice today. I put that slide just for that reason, is that at the end of the day, we're never supposed to take ourselves hella serious. Because you get stressed the fuck out. That's not sustainable. We never supposed to take ourselves serious. And in the moments where we can, we gotta try to have some fun. One thing I love about Nana, man, like, and I want to grow into becoming a better version of that myself, is that, like, in any room that he's in, say if you're in about a 50, once you start entering about a 50-foot radius of that area, you hear laughter. You hear laughter. Lots of it. Lots of it. Lots of it. Lots of it. Like, and I know there's times, because I hear it, when that motherfucker's serious and the shit ain't funny, and shit got to be put in a place. People got to be put in a place. But there's a healthy balance between the two. There's a harmony between the two. And that's a skill that I'm still working on, because I'm hella serious most of the time. But it's just a joy, though, to be around humans like that. Because oh man, we get to at least have some fun and joke and laugh and boom. But then when it's time to work, it's time to work. It's time to talk, it's time to talk. So in business, this is supposed to be part of your purpose. So what's part of your purpose? You got to enjoy the moment. See, and I'll keep it 100 about myself. A lot of times, the reason why I'm always so serious because I'm always thinking about the future, what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna get there, what's next, what's over here, what's next, what's next, what's over here, what's over here. So that I forget sometimes to sit in this moment. Damn, we just hit this number, or damn, shit is good, or that's just a funny joke right now. So entrepreneurship is a motherfucker. So if not, life can blur past you. It could just be a blur, especially if you're living slightly in the future. If you're just slightly in the future about what you got to do, what you got to do, what you got to do, and you don't stop and sit and enjoy the moment, it's hard to have fun. It's hard to have fun. Even the little shit. Just the dumb little shit. Next slide. There it is. There's the book. So let's talk about it. What's the difference between leadership and conscious leadership? Is that like the woo-woo people? What's the difference? Well, we're going to get into it, and with this book, I'm not going in order. I'm gonna be jumping around a lot from the last chapter to the front to the middle, because just in the cadence of how I want it to flow in the rhythm of the class. But get in there, start reading, and if you have questions that are in the book that you may need some guidance and or some translation, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Next slide. So, this is what's called the entitlement trap. It's really the dependency trap, but this is called the entitlement trap. Slightly talked about it, but here we go. So, anytime something is introduced new that's enjoyable, you haven't experienced it before, man, you appreciate it. You are happy. You enjoy it. Oh, man, thank you. This is amazing. It's amazing. Talked about this a little bit last week, but this goes in a little more depth. You appreciate it. Man, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you, man. Thank you for that. If there is some consistency to that thing, over time, you will start to anticipate it. You'll start to anticipate it. And you'll notice a slight bump down into your appreciation because you anticipated. Your brain is starting to get used to it. After the saturation of anticipation, over a longer consistent period, now you expect it. You expect it to come. Where's my becomes a where's my. And if it continues to come over a consistent period of time, when you're in that expectant phase, now you're entitled. Entitlement sets in and you become a motherfucker to deal with. Because now you feel you deserve it. It's your right. The details around it are yours. You own it. It's yours. And you deserve it. And you went from appreciation to entitlement. Now, depending on who you guys are and specifically and how strong that gene is, from 1 to 4 could take 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 10 years, 8 years. It just depends on you. And then deep into entitlement becomes dependency. Now you depend on it. And a thing that was a nice to have, appreciation, now it's I will die without it. And as we talked about last week, it is a company's job in our market, our free market, in our capitalism. A lot of times they make it their aim to make you dependent on them. That the faster they can get you to go from 1 to 5 is the faster they can get rich. So, you hear it, don't get high on your own supply? You ain't never had no supply. Shut the fuck up. You sell the dope, you don't smoke it. So, the worst thing that you can be as a leader, even as a partner in a relationship, as a parent, as a anything, is to move with entitlement. That's the worst thing you can be. People run from your ass. We laugh at the Beckys and shit and like the Karens. We laughed at them all year since COVID, all in videos, because some of those times they reeked of entitlement. But you know videos we didn't see? All the ghetto ass black folks who reek of entitlement too. They think everybody owes them something. You know the fucked up part about entitlement is if you happen to be a partner, a friend, a son, a daughter of a person who's caught in the entitlement trap, it's a rough road for you, because there's nothing you can do to satiate or satisfy that person. You're in a rabbit hole of trying to please a person who's caught in an entitlement trap. You know what I say? If you're a child, if you're a child of that person, son or daughter, you can't. But if you, an adult, run. Fucking run. Get out of there. You know why? Because it brings you down in the simplest form, the simplest words. It brings you down. You got to get out of there. You got to get out of there. And here's the other caveat is because a lot of our society is caught in the mental distortion of polarization. You know what happens? Is you'll seesaw between good relationships and bad. So say relationship number one, any relationship, you're giving, and then but you're down this rabbit hole of giving to a person who's caught in the entitlement trap. And finally, once you break and you guys break, that next one coming up is going to have a tough time, because now you're in the recovery phase and you're holding. You're not giving. And you go back and forth in that pendulum. The idea is to understand these 5 things. It's not personal on you. The fact that they're treating you like that has nothing to do with you. That's the cold part. Now, move that out the way. If we're talking entrepreneurship, and we're talking leadership, and we're talking business owners, you have to understand the psychology of your consumer. There's things that we say in hope that sometimes flies over their head, right? Here's thing number 1. In your business, every year, always be improving it. Can anybody guess why? Shakina?
Because you can't get satisfied with what you have because it becomes obsolete over time. So you have to have a competitive edge and stay curious.
Not quite. Jordan?
Because as a business, if you don't grow, you die. So the world will always improve, and you'll be at the bottom eventually.
I mean, it's a generally true statement, but in the case of the entitlement trap, we're still not there yet. Close, not close, but you're in the area, but it's not there yet. So I'm gonna give you some hints. The average human is not in this class, reading this, understanding how the entitlement trap works, right? They are being swept along in a current, the sea of the game. So you can almost guarantee that that 1 through 5 happens all the time with products, services, and business. Guarantee. And guess what? It happens to you too. Happens to you. So here's an illustration. If I walk into a Nordstrom's and I know the Nordstrom return policy, no, let's swap that and make it easy. 10 years ago, if I ordered something online, when did I expect to get it? About a week on average. 2 weeks sometimes. It can even be up to a month, depending on the company. And we ate it because that was about okay. Amazon comes in the game, right? And they talk about this overnight shit and this 2-day shit and this same day shit, and they sweep the game with that energy, right? So in 2023, when you order something and if it says it's going to take a week, how do you feel? You're irritated. Your spoiled ass is irritated. Your spoiled asses is irritated. So we are all caught in the entitlement to some degree in something in business. You know what I do? I say next too. I'm gonna check Amazon, see if they got it. And even within Amazon, I'm like, next week or Thursday or tomorrow, I'll do the tomorrow. So we are entitled as fuck now when it comes to shipping our products. So if you try to go support a small company or a brand or whatever, they just getting off the ground, and you got to wait a fucking week, you already dinging them. See, that game ain't cool. The entitlement happens in so in business, we call that's healthy competition. It is what it is. It is what it is. Think about it. When Apple started making their products exceptionally well, and then they fucking had the nerve to turn around and make these gorgeous boxes too. So now when you order some electronics and it don't come in a gorgeous box that you throw away in 5 minutes, you questioning the quality of the product. What the fuck is this? It came in a bag? We're entitled. So this isn't a us versus them. You know, I'm telling you, as a consumer, they sell that shit. They selling that shit, and we hooked on it. We hooked on it. So every year, companies are fighting to improve, to make you dependent on them. Court Smith's business model and a team uniform department is just that. That's where a lot of our energy goes. Man, as a coach, step over here for 15 minutes and see what you get versus what you've been getting. You ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. Because we raised the bar so high, what you getting? Now, here's the problem. Coach comes this year and like, this is amazing. Courtsmith is amazing. This is great. I get oh, you do this too? Oh, I get some Hennessy too in the office. Yeah. Now guess what? All that I do that makes him so happy, if we don't change no thing and they come back the next year, you think they're going to be the same amount of excited? No. Oh, yeah. Hey, what's up, Jordan? Oh, yeah, the Hennessy. That's cool. Yeah, y'all got the Hennessy. That's dope. Their excitement level dips a little bit every year if we change nothing. If we change nothing for 6 years in a row, how you think they're going to talk about us? Almost like we're fuck-ups. Man, this shit is still man. Even though there may not be no other competitors doing what we do, we still are up here and competitors still will be down here. But because they've been in our world and they only know our world, if we ain't upped our game, they'll treat us like we this. Do y'all understand that? So that's why we say every year, I don't give a fuck where you are, what level you on, you got to change some shit. You got to move shit around. You got to make shit look nicer. You got to invest in some new fresh paint. You got to add this, make newer this, all new technology, add paint to the full. You got to keep upping it. Keep upping it. And play the long game with it. So if you're going to do $100,000 upgrade this year, you just set the bar for yourself hella big. Be smart about it, because you know you got to do it again next year, and next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that. Because you know entitlement is a motherfucker. So if you see where we going, we're looking at entitlement from like 6 different sides of the same cube. From a human perspective of how humans behave, how for you not to fall into that trap of entitlement, you turn it around and say, oh, in business, this is how consumers behave in entitlement. As a leader, this is how you sell the game of entitlement. It's not black or white. It's not good or bad. It's a cube. So when you learn how to think from options, you play all those options. You get what this is some cold shit. You get where I'm going? This is some cold shit. So, we know that the sea of entitlement is being, people are, and guess who's also in that sea? Us in certain things. We just, but as a leader, we think differently. As a leader, we think differently. Any questions on that? This is gangster shit.
Nope.
One here.
I have less of a question than an ask. Can you get, I like what you're saying, but I want to really grab it. Can you do another example and kind of go through like what I'm thinking about in terms of like running your business, as you were just talking about, right? 1, 2, and 3 is like about where you want people to vacillate, right? Is that?
No.
You don't want them to get to the entitlement stage?
No.
Okay.
You can't control what the entitlement stage. They're gonna be there. So which part of the cube are you looking at? You're talking about the consumer? So guess what? The consumer is going to be entitled and dependent on something. If it's your competitor, do you want it to be you? Because if it's you, that's how you eat. That's how you eat. So our goal, our customer retention rate in the team uniform side is in the 90s, and we're trying to just continue to squeeze it up all the way up to as closest to 100 as we can get. Because who they gonna be dependent on? If they're not dependent on you, who they gonna be dependent on? So the thing is, it's gonna happen. As a leader, understanding it, how do you position yourself to where customers, your customer retention rate is strong and it sticks, and you continue to add more customers knowing how they think.
I want to add something real quick. Mashama said something to me yesterday. It was pretty tight, but it's directly tied to this. And he says, a lot of people learn this stuff that we learn for power, not empathy. Mm-hmm. So you move around and you're trying to gain power in the community, power in your business, not empathy in your business, empathy in your community. Entitlement, once you understand it, if you're learning this stuff, some of us move towards the power side, and then we go to war with entitlement. Oh, they don't know what they're talking about. This is what they need. They're being stupid. You see it with schools. Schools for years have been built on entitlement principles. I'm entitled, I'm the only one teaching education. So where else you gonna go? Mm-hmm. So this is what y'all need to learn, right? But now the education is being dispersed in so many different ways, and we have access so many different ways. Schools can't move from a space of entitlement. They have to also understand that students have entitlement and how to align with their students' entitlement to stay relevant as a business. Once they start to invoke their form of entitlement, they push themselves out of business. So everything you're learning in this class, it should increase your empathy, which then allows entitlement just almost be the canary in the cave helping you navigate. You start watching entitlement, everybody's going this way, or I got to adjust this in my business. Everybody going this way, let me adjust this in my business, right? The business don't stay the way it is because you think this is a good idea, or you like it, or this is where you come from, it's the best business you've ever seen. You're always designing your business to figure out where everybody's going and align to their entitlement. And that's all customers.
Mm-hmm. And here's the deal. A lot of times, us in our own community, there's there's millions of reasons, but some of the reasons why we have a tough time passing on generational wealth to our children is because we abhor their entitlement. Mm. When we have to understand that a certain level of entitlement is normal. Yeah, of course they didn't have to walk in fucking 50-degree minus below zero temperature to get to school. So do you want me to bow down and appreciate you every single day because you got a car and you're taking me to school in California weather? And we well, I need you to show appreciation. You need to be grateful for every little crumb you get. Yo,
how you teach
we did this shit so that our kids can have a small level of entitlement so they don't have to think about negative 50 degrees. Now, of course, there's unhealthy levels of entitlement that we have to manage and teach. But a lot of times we lose them because we want to pull them back down to a level of appreciation that's base, that's like we grew up, like how we was raised. It's a different time. It's a different era. And if we did our job, there's things in life that they don't have to worry about, that should go over their heads. I was stuck on that for a minute. My daddy was a crackhead. You should be happy that I'm here every fucking day. Oh, kind of like you're just getting back to kind of where we supposed to be.
I used to get my ass whooped every day.
Yeah, I used to get whoopings every single day. Well, your mama was fucked up for that. You know what I'm saying? So there's levels of entitlement that we have to be okay and not getting our own emotionally triggered because now we're competing with our kids because they have it easier. The goal was for them to have it easier. So there's so many facets of this entitlement game that we look at as leaders that we're involved in, we're inside of, we're outside of, we're manipulating, we're observing ourselves, we're being swept away in, that this game is powerful and it can help you, it can help generate revenue for you, and it can also improve your life.
So I believe, like, when you're talking about like how dare you, like your kids, like, you know, that's more than likely a trauma response, right? Like you're comparing the bullshit you went through to your kids. And I'm hearing you fully that, like, you know, there's a level of entitlement that's like acceptable, that's almost necessary, because that's like, we went through the fire to give them a baseline, right? Where my first and second brain start to split is figuring out like where to define the boundaries or the line for knowing when enough is enough. Like, is there a checkpoint through this process where you're like, okay, if you get to expectation, like what are the markers so that they don't lean too heavily into the like, you owe me this space? Because you know, you're saying that we're all going through these waves, and I can identify with that, but are there any boundaries or tell signs where we can create some fail safes?
I wouldn't call, well, maybe we call it fail safes or benchmarks or something, but I would say if you look at it like you're baking a cake, right? When you're baking a cake, you're putting sweet things and bitter things in the same bowl. And some things you're doing on purpose to create chain reactions. Like the whole process of heat and some of the ingredients in the cake is for the sole purpose of a chain reaction, right? So if you have some entitlement in there, right, to where they just forget about like their lights coming on. They forget that they can go and just flick the lights on and like turn the water on and the hot water too. They just forget about that, which if we are going to run around reminding them of every creature comfort, it's too much. If we did our job, some of that we want them to just have baseline, because guess what? When you don't have those things, what kind of tax is that? A bandwidth tax. And if your bandwidth is taxed too much, your IQ is low and you can't perform, right? So if you look at it like a cake and you put in, you know that there's going to be a little bit of vanilla extract in there. There's going to be a little bit of sugar, that's acidy. Like, you know there's going to be things you put other ingredients to offset it. So if you are always infusing your kid from day one with gratitude, teaching them to be grateful, playing grateful games with them, 3 years old, 2 years old, in the car. What are we grateful? Give me 5 things you're grateful for. Every day. What are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? What do you and get them in the rhythm of being grateful? Then over time it can offset those things. Yeah, it's gonna happen, because some of those things you want them to be standards. You want them to be standards. Like if they always have references in their life of good black men, right? You want that to be don't you want that to be a standard? I don't know what the fuck you talking about. I grew up around nothing but good, strong black men. That's the standard. It's not like, oh, there's a crackhead, there's this person. You want to create certain standards.
Can I jump in there? Can I give a different angle? Remember last week I said B is the same as A, because you're referencing A for B to exist. A lot of times when you listen to court, we're thinking he's saying B. He's saying neither one. Entitlement makes everything anchored to A. So you're not really changing. You just create another variation of A. At some point, you got to throw A out your mind, which means, what does that mean in real world? What other options do you have? Mm-hmm. Learn about all your choices. Learn about, you have to almost start off with the simple question, what is parenting? And then what things, and then you got to go back and look at, because what we have to do when we're young, we just start throwing the baby with the bathwater. Just get rid of all this shit. Some of that stuff is like, based on human instinct, some of that shit needs to be there. It doesn't make sense to you now because you haven't got there yet. But part of being a parent is I think it's kind of like this entrepreneur thing. It's the same thing. A successful parent, if you want your child to be like all the other children in the neighborhood, then copy and paste. That's what my mama did. That's what I'm doing. My neighbors do the same thing. And you look around like, all these kids fucked up, so is yours. If you want your child to be something different, that means you can't keep referencing your past and going, at least I'm not, because I'm doing something different, which means you're still doing the same thing. You literally have to say, what is the best scenario for this? What are all my options to deal with this? What are the standards that's good for them to give? Like even, I think Bo Lotto talks about this, that we try to teach methods that are gone. We don't try to teach them how to think, which is something they can use in the future. This is what we did in our house, and this is a good idea to do this. That doesn't even exist anymore. Doesn't even exist anymore. Like I was talking to Mama Linda about writing and homework. And I was like, you know that in a couple of years, that won't exist no more. Homework would be something like, remember people used to do homework? AI said, fuck all that. Write a sentence. What you need to understand how a sentence work. You know how to think about what you want to say and the context of how you say it. But actually writing a sentence, AI, this is what I'm trying to figure out. Now let me analyze this, what AI just said to me and adjust it based upon my understanding of the language. But those practices that we were really into, their homework is different than ours. Like your kids, if you don't know that, and you still that kind of person who's still sending letters to people instead of emails, and you telling your child, no, it's so important you do your homework, and your child goes in a room, pulls out their cell phone, comes out 30 minutes later, like, that was so hard on me, Mom. Motherfucker just used AI. And you're valuing something that's not valuable no more. It's irrelevant. So you have to start you got to kind of pay attention, observe, think, expand your mind, and stop limiting yourself to your story. Your story is why most of y'all can't think. Because you keep saying this, that or this or that or this, you're trapped. As opposed to what the options are. How do other people in other cultures do it? How do people do it 40 years ago, 20 years ago? How are people doing this? What's going on? What's happening? What's the latest trends? Do I test this idea? But parenting is really not a copy and paste experience. And I think when we start doing that, or we got to stop referencing our past, because even when we think we're moving forward, we may realize we're not going anywhere. Because we think we're doing something different based upon what happened to us, but that's still toxic because the pendulum is too far to the other side as well.
Yeah. And at the end, have you ever been into a codependent relation? Have you ever had a stalker, ex?
Yeah, it happens no time.
You ever had a stalker, ex? Man, like, they crazy, huh? And you know what happened? Is they got to number 5 on you. Whatever you was doing to them, it was appreciation, anticipation, expectation. They was entitled to it. They fucked it up, and now you don't get it no more. But they had already reached dependency. And once you reach dependency, you are a dope fiend. And once you pull that drug, away from them, you see, it's called withdrawals, and they go crazy, standing at your job like. You go to your phone and you got 38 missed calls with 38 voicemails. Do you understand? Oh, what that is this. These 5 is some of the coldest games. So if you haven't wrote this down, or if you ain't, this is some of the are keys that can open up a lot of shit, and not just business, in life. Understanding this shit. And you know what's funny? Some of y'all been the stalker, but you ain't gonna admit that though. I know it's a couple in here, right? Mm-hmm. Because you got the reverse Uno card put on you.
That's just something. That's just something.
So understanding these elements allows you to move accordingly. Next slide. Any more questions on this? Because I want to take my time on this because this one is so cold. One more?
I think the mic, I just want to just ask if you can repeat the 6 sides of the cube, please.
So one angle is looking at it from an entrepreneurial angle. You being the entrepreneur. How do you manipulate this in your business? You can't control this, knowing this is going to happen to consumers, your employees, customers, vendors, everybody. So the other part of the cube is you as a consumer, you as a partner, you as a parent. Wasn't just 6. It was. I forget how many it was. I'm just going. As I think of more, I'll give them to you. Yeah. Next slide. Thank you. So in terms of leadership, as the book translates it, there's 4 types. Now, of course, we know there's not 4 types of leaderships. We're saying in the context of the book discusses 4 types of leaderships through their scope. And I think this is fire. It is fire. It's almost, it almost has I want to say a high vibration to it as you read through it. So let's start with the first one. It's called To Me Leadership. Now, the sad part is most leaders are number 1. Most leaders are number 1. And here's how it happens sometimes is you're a technician, right? You're good. You're a good technician. You end up being the fastest, the best. Your times are the fastest, best customer service. You're really killing in your particular position. And your boss comes to you, it's promotion time, and says, man, you're such a good technician. You will probably make a good supervisor or manager or leader. So sometimes technicians get promoted to leadership positions, but they only know technician shit. And most technicians are about me. That's how they got that. That's how they got good. They focused on me, which that's how you get good. But go to the next slide. But when you at scale, mean when you lead as a to me leader, this is your outcome. The quote is, if they get better, then we will change. So most of the focus is on everybody because you can't do it. You can't just be like, most technicians be like, man, I'm just going to do it myself. It's a saying out there, right? If you want to get it done,
Do it yourself.
James Harden.
only losers say that. Only losers say that. Only losers say that statement. What the fuck? What does Steve Jobs look like saying that? Or anybody who has a staff or built a brand or a company. It's no way you can build something like that. But if you're in corporate, you got a job that's already scaled out, a lot of times leaders move like this. If they got better, then we will change. You want to go through the clues?
Victim mentality. Things are always happening to them.
All right, victim mentality. Oh man, it's just not my fault. I didn't do it. They did it. If they could just, man, see the company's so unorganized. Shit. They ain't got their shit together, man. I don't know how this company made $4.3 billion. Stupid ass. Stupid ass. Because if their world, the world revolves around them. If I wasn't there, this shit will fall apart. Stupid ass. Victim mentality. Things are always happening to them. What's next?
Who's to blame? It's not us.
It's not my fault. I didn't do it. It's not me. I didn't do it. These are this is somebody's boss. They're writing your annual reports, your annual, at the end of the year, like, how'd you do? What do they call that? Reviews. They're writing your reviews at the end of the year A two me leader writing your reviews? It's dangerous. Next one.
We're right and they are wrong.
They play in the right and wrong game.
Ooh, this is getting rough, man.
In leadership, they play in a right and wrong game. You have a product or service and you still playing a right and wrong game. But guess what? They came from the technician world. That's how they became an amazing technician, because they're perfectionists and they got it. They trying to get this close to that perfect line as they can, and that worked for them. It got them that position. So why would they change if my strategy, this strategy got me here, got me a pay raise, now I got some stock options, I make more money. So obviously what I'm doing is working. Last one.
They rarely have a purpose and always have a hard time finding it.
Shh.
Come on, this is getting rough, man. It's getting rough.
Real
man.
shit.
It's getting rough.
Because how can you figure out what your purpose are if you're too busy blaming and you're the victim?
It's getting rough, man.
Victims can't have purpose. Victims can't have purpose because you can't see it. It's hard to see. It's hard to see. You're not looking.
Come on, man.
You're looking for reasons to be right, and you're looking for reasons to say, look at me. The world fucked me over. The world fucked me over, so this is my story. If I take an inkling of responsibility, then the story that I've created for myself is null and void. So I'm gonna hold on to this shit. Now, these people can still be leaders, and they are. They out there in the world. You know what? When I was in the corporate world, I told you guys this. I used to do this. I didn't know nothing about this. I just wanted my freedom because I'm a wolf, man. So I would say, hey, 2 weeks into my new supervisor manager's position, hey, can I talk to you? Yep, come on. I said, hey, I know you're new here. So can we make a deal? What? I'll make you look like a superstar. In this company, they always giving out bullshit ass awards, Home Depot certificates and shit all the time for little wins and fastest times and all this shit. And I will have you on that stage all the time. All you gotta do is just leave me the fuck alone. Deal? Just leave me, and I will guarantee you I'll make you look like a star. And the minute I don't, or if I fuck some shit up, you can micromanage me all you want. Deal? And he, deal. I come and go as I please, do whatever the fuck I want, but I made sure that I made him look like he got all the awards. And I didn't take credit for any of it, because all I wanted was the freedom. I didn't want the fucking accolades. How'd you do it? Hey, I sat down with my boss and he gave me the right to play, and I played it. Because it's too many of them. You can be a to-me leader if you have a degree from Cal Berkeley. You can be instantly a to-me leader, because Cal Berkeley doesn't fix your mindset, your psychology. See what I'm saying? Next, any questions on to-me leaders?
Let me
Yeah.
turn my mic up. Yeah, turn my mic up. Yeah, good. Okay, clear my throat. Listen, this shit's so fat. Pause.
I saw that one. I was like, I think that's a hard pause.
Hey. Hold on. Shabisha, don't do that.
I'm learning pause.
That's my little sister. She just
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
do me. Yeah. Hey.
Now it's an unpause?
Decided didn't even get it. Decided don't even get that part. Decided stuck on the pause part. Anyway, point is this. Okay. Let me share something with you guys that makes this even more fucked up than you realize. Like, everybody should take a picture of this slide and go home and really reflect on this slide. This slide right here affects your money directly. This is a direct blow to your money. You say, what do you mean? If you're an investor and the person who wants you to invest in them blames others, are you comfortable giving your money? Because when shit go wrong, what are you going to do? The reason I couldn't make your money back, the reason we didn't grow, the reason is because they, them, not the other, right? Let me show you how cool the brain, this is actually programmed into our brain as a species. You at a party right now, and that person is always deflecting blame. Always deflecting blame. But just at a party. You're not doing business, you're just at a party. And somebody be like, yo, you dropped that. That wasn't me. Who else was sitting there? What the fuck are you talking about? Right? It's probably one of these badass kids around here. Anyway, what are we gonna do about the club tomorrow, right? Okay. If you at work and your supervisor says, hey, let's go hire somebody to provide this service, and that person provides that service, you know at that point you need to trust that person. Can you trust them? You can't. Because you know before when people came to your corporation and when things went bad, did they work hard to make it right, or did they blame, well, y'all didn't tell me it was that time. I didn't know it was not going to be that many people. I didn't know y'all was vegetarians. I didn't know that. Or you're in business and you're looking for somebody to collaborate, and let's say you happen to be a designer, but every time you see that designer talk to people, he's always telling the customer, well, you know, excuse, blame, outside. So now you need to do a collaboration on $1 million project. You don't call that designer? You see how this form of leadership is destroying and deteriorating your money path, because trust is the pipeline that money moves through, right? And so the more you show up in this space, you tear down your trust. And one day you realize you're fighting for one customer at a time, as opposed to people just throwing customers through your door because of the way you show up to everyday situations. And you think everyday situations should be totally separate from your business personality. It's not. It's not. So you have to realize that this here is directly, like, this destroys your ability to build your business, because it's too slow for you to get one customer at a time. It's just too fucking slow. You want to get to the point that you move with such integrity and such a space of leadership that people are looking for, selling your company for you while you're asleep. And if these things exist, ain't nobody selling for you. Nobody fucking with you.
They are not.
Not fucking with you.
If they not fucking with you right now, you might want to.
It's probably you.
Look at this. This is probably you. If they not fucking with you right now, if I'm playing the law in the game of probabilities, I will put my chips on that. To me, leadership.
If you like the way you argue and debate people, it's probably you.
You fighting for right and wrong. You got to be right. I told him. I told her. I told her off. I told her about herself. No, it's just not right. No, I just stop. I don't care. When you say, no, like, fuck that. I don't care about the money. It's about principle. Like, you in that space, you want to be right all the time. And you want to keep this shroud of innocence and perfection around yourself. Guess what? Woo. You also leave people out. Money, business, relationships. Relationships are blended together by grace and collaboration. So if you don't have grace and collaboration amongst each other, because you're so busy playing the right and wrong game, ain't nobody fucking with you. They ain't gonna want to. And they're not gonna want to spread the word about you in your business.
I was going to say that I remember, I think it was one of the staff meetings at the beginning of this year, because you guys always come back from the year and you're like, these are things we need to work on. And you told everybody, you were like, stop all that bullshit about getting mad about somebody's email or about a client we're serving or what they did and they fucked up and they dropped the ball. We don't do any of that now. Like, your job as somebody who's here at 510 Media is to proactively I'm paraphrasing, but to think about them as a Rubik's Cube. And what questions am I not asking, and how am I not servicing these people, and what is causing an error in this relationship? Because if we at 510 Media are blaming the client, we're not servicing the client. We're totally missing the target of what the client needs.
That's real. That's real. In a nutshell. If Jordan was talking, he'd say, "That's the shit that we talking about for the last 2 weeks. Heavy, heavy. Fucking complaining. Customer got under my skin. Man, fuck your skin. This customer gets under my skin. Fuck your skin. Get new skin." That's what I want to say, Jordan, in the meeting. But he knows. I say, "Well, tell me more about that. Let's listen. I'll listen to you." That's a cognitive distortion. But I want to be like, "Man, fuck your skin. Get new skin." Because it ain't about us. You're in a technician trap. You're in a technician trap. And a technician trap means, and you can always tell when somebody's in a technician trap. The world, business, the company revolves around them, and they feel like they're the center of the universe, and without them, everything would be destroyed. But if you go back to the other slides, as a leader, you know which one of 5 they're in. You're in entitlement. You're in number 4 right now. You're in number 4. You're in number 4. Let me bring you back up to appreciation. Do you know our job? You know what we do every day? What? I pulled him in a corner. Do you know what we do every day, bro? What? We draw pictures on basketball jerseys.
That's great. That's a good job.
You get to draw pictures. Our living is we get to draw pictures, and we get to dictate and control who we hire. Look around. Everybody looks like us. That Tesla you got that's parked behind mine, we got it because we draw pictures. You tripping. You entitled right now, like a motherfucker. What's the alternative? What were you doing before this? You were selling cell phones? Get the fuck. You're right, bro. You're right. Yeah, you're right. You manage it as a leader, but you know what's happening. Next slide. So, to me leadership. Now, here's one of the kickers. Go ahead.
Self-blame is just as toxic as blaming others.
Man, come on, bro. Come on.
Self-blame is just as toxic as blaming others. So I'm not letting you off the hook either. So if I'm a fuck up, I'm just a nobody. No, you also are doing the same thing we say not to do to others as a to-me leader. We say take radical responsibility. That's the next one, but not self-blame. You're letting yourself off the hook too. Don't let yourself off the hook. Nope, because at that point you don't have to improve anymore. You take responsibility. Got it? Any questions on that? Some cold shit, man.
I'm just curious what the difference is between self-blame and taking responsibility is.
Great question. And we're going to address it in 3.4 seconds. Next slide. So I'm just going, just keep the mic in your hand.
Shoot that anyway.
You dig. You dig. Okay.
By me leadership.
Shabisha, I just want to stop and say, you look fine today. What you do different? What's going on?
You know what I mean? How I feel on the outside is shown on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm bringing it forward today. You know, give you a little something.
I feel okay.
You know.
Sorry, I just had to do that.
It's my inner beauty radiating on the outside. You know,
feel that.
I let it out today.
I feel like you on a SWB video or something.
I mean, I make them weak in the knees. You understand?
That was a good one.
Creating with others. Clues.
So this next one's by me leadership. So before it was to me leadership, this one's by me leadership. Okay, go ahead one more time.
Okay. Clues. They are always asking, what can I learn from this?
Who wants to be? Who wants to work for a person like this?
I hate you so much today. This is great.
See, so you're creating with others. That's the difference. The by me leader is creating with others. They're always asking, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? Every situation that happens, what can I learn from this? Every day we got a section in our staff meeting, every morning, postmortems. We fucked up. It's not to blame nobody. It's not about blaming. It's what can I learn from it? What can we learn from it together as a team? And that way you don't feel intimidated or the pressure of having to be perfect and right all the time. It's more about what can we learn and improve the system so that we can get better and scale out. Next one.
They take radical responsibility for everything that happens.
Shakina. They take radical responsibility. So let's start with just the words, right? And then we'll work our way down to the definitions. Hey, Shakina, the customer in your gym hurt their ankle on one of your pieces of equipment. What happened? Now, if you say, that's my fault, say my fault and see how that feels. I want you to feel the difference. Now, if I say, Shakina, somebody hurt their ankle in your gym. What happened? And say, it's my responsibility. Say that. Do you feel the difference just in the words? No? Okay, so if I say, it's okay.
This is deep.
This is great.
This is deep.
This is great.
Yeah,
this
this
is
is great.
No, it's good.
This is great.
I didn't like, I don't know, because it felt like just like a role rehearsal as opposed to a real thing. But like in a real situation, like if somebody hurt themselves, I'd be like, oh, what happened? How can we make sure that doesn't happen again? I don't know if that's the same as blame or responsibility.
Well, where I'm going with it is I'm just starting with the two words, right?
Those 2 words are
So,
important.
so if I say, it was my fault. It's my fault. It's my fault.
This is really
It was my fault. Feel the difference to, that's my responsibility. It's my responsibility. See, when you say it's my responsibility, you take ownership. You take ownership. It's yours. So the ownership, the second order thinking that comes after ownership is you're saying, what can I learn and how can I fix it? How can I prevent it from happening next time? So say who's the older sibling? Who's the oldest? The older sister or older brother of the family. Boom, boom, boom. So if you in your room doing whatever you do, listening to your music or whatever, and your little brother or little sister in some other room stick they fucking a fork in a light socket while your parents was at work or something stupid like that, and they get electrocuted. What does your mom come and tell you? They chew you out. And you like, but I wasn't there. I wasn't there. I didn't see him. And then what do they say? She's your responsibility. Of course it wasn't your fault. You didn't stick the thing, you didn't grab your brother and sister's hand and stick it in the light socket. But you were, while they were away, you were supposed to take ownership of it, and it was your responsibility. So when you take responsibility, you're like, you can't be in your own world. You gotta, where's my little brother? Where's that little bad motherfucker at? Let me go check on him real quick. Time out. What you doing? Nothing. You know when he say nothing, you go check.
Lying.
Right? That's the difference between fault and responsibility.
Can I add to that too?
Yeah.
This is so dope. This is actually way. We might have to revisit this again next week. This is really good, bro. And by the way, that story you gave with the child, your brother, sister, was excellent analogy. Fault. When you feel bad about something, you avoid something. Right? Have you ever had to go look at your bank account and you knew it was already low? Who wanted to look? Isn't that the hardest login you've ever done in your life?
Ever.
You already know you're going to see $20, $30, $40, $50. And you know you got a $1,000 bill coming. You're like,
Negative.
God damn. You don't want to look at it. Somebody like, well, you need to like you need to look at your numbers. You're like, why? This shit going to have me depressed. Right? When you say fault, you're tapping into that negative space. And guess what you're going to start doing? You're going to start avoiding, you're going to visually start cutting things off. Your brain is going to start like removing it from your vision, right? Every time you think about it, your brain's like, I got to burn so many calories to think about this. It's just doing too much. When you say it's my responsibility, it's almost like you wear a badge of leadership on your chest. And it feels good because it's my business and I got to protect my customers. And if you got hurt, then I'm going to take care of you. That's totally different than, oh, I'm such a bad person. Mm-hmm. Two different spaces. Mm-hmm. The thing is that you will not see what he's talking about through observation. I had somebody around me and Shakira one time, and I was telling Shakira, hey, this wasn't cool. They said, how does she handle that? Because she's looking at it from a position of responsibility. The person listening was listening to it from a space of fault. There's nothing to separate the two unless a person understands this. Mm-hmm. If you don't understand this, you could be talking about radical responsibility. But what you're talking about is radical fault. Mm. And radical responsibility is that when things happen within your grasp, your brain goes into like, I'm the leader here. That's why you call leadership. Mm-hmm. When you're at fault, you're the victim here. Mm-hmm. Totally different.
Oh, that's a beautiful word. Mm-hmm. Fault correlates to victimhood. Mm-hmm. Responsibility correlates to leadership.
It's the hero victim triangle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's dope. Next one.
They take radical responsibility for everything that happens.
Next one.
Oh, next slide. Did we do the whole thing?
No, you didn't do the whole thing.
your-
Do the next one.
Your third one.
Oh, they let go of blaming anyone.
They let go of blaming anyone.
Come on, man. Talk about this one.
They let go of blaming anyone. Anyone, any reason, anything.
Did you say anyone?
Anyone, anything, any reason. Aliens, it's my responsibility. The president, my responsibility. The hood, my bipping, my. It was an earthquake, my COVID, it was my responsibility. The economy, my responsibility. Shakina sneezing, my responsibility. My responsibility, my responsibility, my responsibility. Every situation, and it gives you practice.
Random as hell, but how the hell are you responsible for my sneeze?
Can I talk about that one real quick?
Sure.
If I'm running this space and you sneeze, my brain goes, uh-oh. Is it just her? Is she sick? Is it something in the air about the air, the environment? If you're controlling hospitality and the human experience, if another person sneezes, I'm going to start looking for signs of if there's something going on in this room I need to be aware of to protect the human experience. Because if this environment becomes toxic and I waited till everybody was in the hospital, I've already lost my business.
Air purifiers. Yeah, that's game. But, and guess what? You know why it was so fast to come up with options? Because he practiced thinking like this. I practice thinking like this every single day. Every single day. All the time. It's my I look around, my responsibility. Our office was in a weird area. It was shit popping off. We moved. And it's weird shit happening. I'm preparing. Because this is my responsibility. Dauphine, I'm here right now, Dauphine, so y'all gonna have to go somewhere else. I'm sorry, because I'm here now. I'm here now. My responsibility. These people are everything around us is my responsibility. The weeds over here is my responsibility. So my spot is here, but it's weeds and fucked up shit over here. I'm paying for that to get fixed too. Because now I got a radius. My responsibility. I'm picking up your trash because it's across from my trash. My responsibility. If a little old lady is walking out and she's scared, she's not going to be scared walking past our building. Because once she in our circumference, it's my responsibility. We train our staff. If UPS, DHL, Amazon walks in there, bringing boxes. Hey, you want something to drink, bro? You thirsty? You need something? Because you in our space. Everybody's our responsibility. And if you're always thinking like that, then you're always it's easy for us to go back to the other slide and play through that entitlement game. Because we're always thinking of ways to improve. Always thinking of ways to improve. So who between this one and the one before, who would want to work with this person? This is who we want to work with. Who will want to refer other businesses and other people to this person?
Everybody.
Everybody. You know why? You know they're in good hands. Like Allstate. They're in good hands.
Hey, let's be honest. That's a great parent.
That's a great parent.
That's amazing.
That kid,
parent.
like, if y'all grew up like raggedy like I did, like there was people that you can go spend the night at their house and my mom wouldn't call them for a week. 2 weeks. Because she knew whatever they did, I did. Whatever they went, I went. They happened to go school shopping that week and I was there, I got some school clothes. Because that parent, that father, whoever I was with, was a radical responsibility human. It's black women are this. A lot of black women are this. Come to my house. You leaving with food. Because that mothering is radical responsibility. Understand this is by me leadership, and this is where we want to be. Next one.
Harder than you think. Go on. This is great. I'm loving this shit. This is one of my favorite classes. Go ahead.
You want to say amen?
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay.
I'm just doing it. I'm one of them loud ass fans.
They are committed and aligned with their purpose.
Come on, man. That's going to get rough now.
Committed and aligned with the purpose. Guess what? You know what makes it easy for by me leaders to supersede a lot of their dark sides? Alignment with the purpose. Because when you take radical responsibility for everything around you, a lot of times you'll take the back seat to yourself to make sure that the people in your circumference are taken care of and you are moving your purpose forward. Because that's why you're here. You aligned. And then when you get off track, you don't get off track for too long. Shit, what the fuck am I doing? What am I doing? Back on the road. Next slide.
I mean, next no, go back.
No, I'm sorry. Next
Go back.
next one.
What do I want? What do I really want?
Why do you think they asked it twice? Anybody? Why do you think they asked it twice? What do I want? And then what do I really want?
Because I think there's always like a trigger response of like, oh, you want this water? Yeah. Like, sure, why not? And then there's like, but do you really want this water? Because you ain't drink it all day. Like, there's always like an underlying thing to, like, sometimes you have to say no to the right now to get the thing that you really want. But we get so caught with having the thing that's right in front of us.
Close.
Like the why.
Back there. And then you.
Take the mic a second. She's going to be bad for
I had to write it down to make sure I didn't forget it. Usually the first desire for something is built off of impulse. And so if you think that you want it without thinking about what it takes to get it, you'll just end up having something without actually putting in the work to get it. It's just because you wanted it.
Good. That's close too. That's close.
The second, what do I really want is like, what's your why? So it's like, what do you want? I want to create a class for entrepreneurship. What do you really want? Well, I want to see, I'm using you. I'm using you. I want to see Black people be free. And this kind of thinking is not in our community. So that's like, what do I really want? Is I want to see Black people be free.
Yeah. All three together is the answer. It cuts through the bullshit. Because we all got surface level bullshit ass answers.
All of us.
All of us.
Atlanta strip clubs.
What do I want? I want a mansion.
Yeah, Atlanta strip club.
What do I really want? What do I really want? And it goes down into the governing beliefs. Goes down into deep depths of the governing beliefs that we can. What do I really want? Sometimes if you ask that enough times, you might get choked up. What do I really? Man, I just want to be happy.
Go say something cool. I think too, a good reason why the examining the why is because most pursuits that we have, we're actually pursuing an emotional response rather than a materially physical thing. So you have to do that deep introspection of like, okay, I want this thing, but what is the emotional need that I'm trying to service through the attainment of that? And I think it's probably in line with what you're saying with the belief. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? Like, I think that double inquiry is really there because sometimes you're just trying to service an emotion and you're not actually thinking about the longer like methodology and second order effects.
That's good. There was one more over here. Oh. What do you really want? Think about it. Who would want to be led by a person who knows what they really want? Man. This person has a vision and they know what they want and they go in there. It's easy to follow. It's easy to work with that person.
It's true.
You see what I'm saying? By me leadership, meaning we're here, we're all in this together and we're working with you. Let's do this together. And no one's at fault. You see nothing on here about being right and wrong or blaming or winning or being better than anybody. It's all about aligning with purpose, learning from mistakes, and driving down the road of our purpose. That's how that's real leadership. Go ahead. When Tanil raised her hand, we got to move out the way and give her the mic.
Everybody start talking.
No. Okay. No, I wanted to add one thing because I'm speaking from my own personal experience. One of the things that I think is maybe missing from here is that this type of leader, which I am very thankful to work for, they push the people under them to also become that. So not only are they that, they invest in their people to become that. And so they do it by leading by example, but also calling you on your shit when you need to have something called out, not in a judgmental way, but in a way that is so supportive of you elevating who you are and how you show up that you are motivated to grow in those spaces, right? You don't take on the spirit of offense. So I just wanted to add that because I was like, wait a minute here. The one thing is that I felt was missing. This is all great, but I think one of the greatest things that have impacted my life since working at 510 is that I'm becoming those things because not just me, the whole team is being elevated and exposed to what it means to become that thing.
Fire. So we're going to have to cut it, and we'll continue next week, because it's my time.
Just do one more slide, though. I think we should do one more slide, though. Or something.
Are you emotional?
Hey, no, this is.
Thank you, bro.
No,
Thank you.
I'm just saying this. The reason this is so important is because this question surfaces from so many people to me all the time. And I think people are trying to look at it as these simple anecdotes. and this is as close as you're gonna get to it, because it's really not an antidote. It's really complex because there's a lot of invisible things happening here. But this is probably the simplest description I've ever seen of the different kind of leaderships, and that it's funny because people want to be this, but they move in the other way. They moving to me, but they talk by me, and they don't realize it's two different people in their presence, and they think. And the best way to know if you're a by me to me is how do you move in your personal life, not your business, because you're lying to yourself if you think this person you think you are. Your ego tells you you're buff, even though you never worked out. Your ego tells you you're fast, even though you ain't ran track since high school and you're 45, right? Like your ego tells you your ego tells you fine, even though you got that crop top and everything's coming out except your butt and your breast, your stomach is just out, right? But your ego's cold. It's cold. And then when you get the picture back, you swear to God, something wrong with their camera. Like, what's wrong with this person's camera, right? It's not the camera. It's really you.
I got jumped. It was a one-on-one. I got jumped.
Like, cut it out. And so this one here is not obtainable by snapping your fingers and saying some hotep shit. This is obtainable through practice. And you grow into this slowly, and you're gonna constantly find that you're not doing this for a long time. You're gonna get better, and you're gonna think you arrived when you do one of these lines, and you're gonna realize that you still don't hit all of those 5. You gotta hit all 5 of these, and then you know you're really organically there. If you just hit one of these spaces, you're probably only doing that when you're consciously aware of your actions. But when you're scared, uncomfortable, flowing, laughing, being silly, tired, you're back to me. Mm-hmm. But when you're trying to be intellectual, you buy me. You know what I mean? The way I move is, I don't blame people. Oh, you just blamed me 15 minutes ago. Like it's so this is such a hidden subject. When we talk about that business is about a lot of like changing a lot of invisible things and then walking in faith towards these things, I can't begin to tell you, like, this is one of the ones that I would suggest you go home, come up with more questions that's relevant to you. Keep lobbing those questions up. Keep working on it's just like if you went to Shakina to lose some weight and you realize just because you at the gym don't mean you're going to lose some weight. You need somebody that can help you see yourself and accurately train yourself so you can actually see results. And you're going to need that proper feedback from the mirror, the scale, and everything else, your whole family. And so this type of thing here, you got to build a regiment to grow into this. You don't become this. You just can't go from 2 million by. Me and Michelle work on this shit we still work on our shit aggressively. Like we on some other shit, but we work on our shit all the time because when we leave our circle, or if you leave hope, to me dominates, not by me. And to me is on the news, to me is social justice, to me is liberals, to me is Democrats, Republicans, to me is almost the mayor of Oakland, to me. Everything's, I'm doing the best I can, and you don't understand what I'm going through. Who gives a fuck? Take radical responsibility, right? And you see it everywhere you turn. By me? By me?
Rare.
You ain't got no herd out there. It's like, so you got to know how to find your herd, smell that, and then you can't say, well, this is what everybody else do. That's why you're a to me.
Hey, that reminds me of another one. The I'm doing the best I can.
Oh, to me.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I tell you this, maybe one, now it happens maybe like once every 3 years. It probably hasn't happened like 3 years. COVID, I probably said that once or twice, right? Because that's when your brain is like trying to give up. It's trying to go to the blame space. It's trying to be a to me. And you know what? Nobody gives a fuck.
No one.
You chose this.
No one.
You chose to step into this arena and play the professional game. I'm doing the best I can. I tell myself, when that happens, I tell myself, man, shut the fuck up. I chose this shit. It's still my responsibility. We still have to figure it out. I still have to, so I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to be in this space, and then we gonna figure it out. The first question is, what can we learn? What can we learn? What resources do I need? So, like, all that, and don't get me wrong, all of that is being human, right? The humanness in us, that's what we do. But once we decide to play in this game, we don't have the luxury to be human all the time. We have to step out of those spaces and have the tools to say, okay, I get it. I see where you are. That's fine. But guess what? We got to go here. So we got to get you from here to here. And that's the radical responsibility place.
Yeah, matter of fact, have you, now we're going to talk between us real quick and let them hear this conversation. Share with them. I don't even need to prompt. You know, you do me like this all the time. Like, I know, what would you? And I'd be like, God damn, chickens. Watch me trigger you real quick. So you're by me, because I can speak for that, right? Everybody in our tight circle is by me. Talk to when a to-me leader calls you for advice, how rough that is for a by-me person to talk.
It happened today at staff meeting. You stop me when I'm lying. Hey, y'all, we're in scale mode. So the 95%, the shit that worked 95% of the time is irrelevant in scaling. We're looking at the 1 to 5% because the 5% at scale can be big. So
Dope.
that little mistake that we're talking about, we have to squash it. We have to figure out how to squash it because at scale, it's going to be nasty for us. So I have a to me. He's a great technician. To me though, and we've been working on it for years. So he says, well, I don't agree. 95% is a good percentage. So we should continue. Like, why should we change our systems for the other 5? So I said, I know it's counterintuitive, huh? But at scale, it switches. And I give a dope ass analogy. I pulled out one of my analogies. Right? Illustration. All right, cool. Seatbelt. You know, before that, no was no seatbelts. Cars were metal and glass. Motherfuckers were dying when they crashed. Only 1 to 5% was crashing, but they were dying. So if you built 100 cars, 5 people died. 5 people died. But as cars scaled out, and you have 100 million cars, that 5% is 100 million people. Just that small 1%. I go through this. You know what he says? So we're just gonna have to trust you. Ooh. So you saying we just gotta trust that what you saying? So I'm like, how many scaling books have you read? How many scaling books have you read? None? So you don't got to trust me. Go read some scaling books. And then we can have a real debate. But if you haven't, you got to kind of shut the fuck up.
That's crazy.
So it's hard as fuck.
It's hard.
It's hard as fuck.
Matter of fact,
it's hard as fuck.
too many people hear what they want to hear. And it's not what you said.
He literally almost just took the chunk of what I said and just erased it. And just like, oh, so I'm just supposed to take your word for it?
Like literally, like instead of you sitting there examining, so a by me person, when they hear things, they accept that. When you move by me, you often have emotional responses that you realize you have to suppress because they ain't got nothing to do with nothing. You have to remind yourself, what am I irritated for? This ain't nothing happening here, right? So, but to me speaks to that. Because remember, they right versus wrong, they're victims. They learn all the language to protect themselves because they're under virtual attack all the time. Like literally, I used to say it all the time, if you ain't come for my money and my family, I don't know what the fuck I'm tripping about. No, you ugly motherfucker. Okay, I don't know what that means. I don't, you ain't come for my money and my family, right? But to me, you can literally say it's like, hey, I think you should wear a different shirt. And they say, oh my God, their brain goes, oh God, you're under attack.
You're attacking me.
Defend yourself, protect yourself. To only find out when we walk outside the house, you wearing a red shirt in a blood neighborhood, what the fuck wrong with you? right? It's just literally like they don't even say, well, why do you think I should change my shirt? That's the simple answer. That's a simple question right there. That's it right there. And just because that person said you should change your shirt, you ask, if the answer's not good enough for you, then walk outside in your regular shirt and say, yo, thanks for looking out for me, and keep it moving. But instead, that's how Buy Me was like, hey, why'd you say that? Doesn't mean that we're not just yes to everything. Oh my God. This is not a hippie movement shit he's talking about. Buy Me is realizing that you own responsibility for that final decision, no matter what the fuck it is. So when somebody comes to you, they're all advisors, and every advisor is not right. Otherwise, why would they call them? They call them Jesuses. Mm-hmm. But to me, when you get an advisor, then these people are challengers. These are people disruptors. These are people who don't respect you, hate on you, don't see where you going, wasn't there from the beginning. You don't know me. When you say shit like that, you're to me. You don't know me. You don't know where I come from. You know what I went to get what I got? Who gives a fuck? Just like the Buy Me versus To Me is such a huge different mindset that once you become Buy Me, okay, if you're To Me, you probably won't see them. Mm-hmm. You'll miss it. You'll miss the cues. You just seem like that person's just not engaging.
Mm-hmm. Or you be resentful.
100%.
You're like the bratty little child, and you're resentful of a Buy Me.
All the time. Like, it's literally this. If somebody doesn't teach this to you, it's hard to become this different variation. Because this is a level, especially for our people are not grown up. I said, damn, Nani, that's a strong statement. Because we don't take radical responsibility for our fucking neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods move, the schools are so fucked up. The government's so fucked up. Defund the police. Oh my God, niggas out here crazy. What are you doing? This neighborhood's all messed up. I don't know what's going on. Oh my God. Oh my God, Oakland crazy. What are you doing? And yet nothing ever triggers your mind, this is the work I got to do. I hate you because this was my part of my career.
I have a question that's coming up for me is like every industry or every new somebody is always talking about how they're going to disrupt XYZ industry. And so the question that came up was like, would you say that people who take that approach are Buy Me leaders or To Me leaders? So I have an example. Ice Cube and the Big Three.
You can be both.
Yeah.
I think the type of leadership doesn't dictate the ability to find a void in the marketplace. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the voids in the marketplace are either an area that has gone unserviced, mm-hmm. or if you go back to the third slide, that an area that has saturated at entitlement and it hasn't grown. Mm-hmm. So if everybody has gotten used to this particular level, and you're like, ooh, they haven't grown this area because they've been doing the same stuff every year and everybody's bored of this, now I can just give them a little higher level service. And then they'll think this is the best shit since sliced bread. So you can be any kind of leader. That's just being able to notice the voids in the market and notice where you can serve better, especially if you're deep in it. So you look at like if you're in the basketball industry and you realize that in the NBA at 33, you're an old man and you're ready for retirement. But we know from 33 to 43, you still got a lot of gas in the tank. Mm-hmm. And if you were played at that high level, you still can be really entertaining. And he captured that void. But you can still be a To Me. You could be a Buy Me. If you can convince investors to ride with you, then you're going to ride your To Me ass all the way to the top. Mm-hmm. It's just when shit hits the fan, That's when you know the difference. Where it's a Bible quote that said, by your fruits you will recognize them. Like the wheat and the weeds, grow them together. Then by the fruits you will recognize them. That's when you start recognizing them, not the ascend, but when there's problems. And if they get in media and they blaming everybody, blame. Oh, he's a to me. At the beginning, it's hard to tell. Yeah. If he says, oh, this is my responsibility, we're going to learn from this, we're going to fix this, you automatically knows he's by me or she's by me. All right. We'll do one more and then break. Next slide. Through me. So go ahead.
Through me leadership lets go of control.
Okay. So now the through me leaders, they let go of control. By me, you have control because you take radical responsibility for everything. So if you like being in control, by me is a good one. I love it. It's my responsibility. It's on my watch. Now, through me leaders, a different type of leadership, they let go of control completely. They let go of control. Now it's if you ever recall the term taught at Hope called complex adaptive systems. Through me leaders play in this world that build countries, cities. You have to. I can't control every dope fiend on the corner. There's gonna be fucking murders. There's gonna be this. But I can't control. But what systems can I put in place? Next.
Clues are, they are always asking, what can I learn from this?
Keep going.
What is my industry's highest idea of itself that wants to manifest itself through me?
Okay. What is my industry's highest idea of itself that wants to manifest itself through me? So this goes back to the purpose slide. Which means I ain't fucking competing against you. I ain't thinking about you. I'm thinking about what is the highest, like what does my industry want to manifest itself through me? The highest idea. What's my purpose? What's my job here in this industry? That means I can't take from you because I'm getting mine. Tripping off you. That allows me to say, actively black, I'm proud. Not like you eating off my plate. I have my purpose. It's a beautiful thing. This is where I said that I feel like some of this shit is like on a higher vibration because you feel it when you read it. Next one.
What is life's highest idea of itself that wants to manifest through me?
Ooh. Think about that. Ask yourself those two questions on the way home. And just think about what resonates to you. It's not saying, how can you, like a lot of these self-helps or pops or whatever, saying you're going to be the best in it, you're going to be the biggest in the industry, you're going to be biggest and baddest and best. It's not about that. You may not be the biggest or the baddest or the best. But your goal is to be fully present into what you are. So what is life's idea? What is life's highest idea of itself that wants to manifest through me? And the last slide is even more dope.
Don't have to figure it out.
You ain't got to figure it all out. The thing is, as you're maneuvering through this, you ain't got to have shit all figured out. You just got to keep going and keep asking questions and not let go of control. The thing about letting go of control and that makes this type of leadership dope is that you can build shit bigger than you. You ever seen somebody who had great potential to do great things, but they was in the way? And the people on the outside could see it. But But you can't. You know why? You are in too much control. I got to be in control of everything. I got to see everything. I got to do everything. I got to see it. This is where Russell Simmons was. This is his philosophy. I'm the dumbest person in my room. Sounds like that's actively Black's philosophy. I just pull the best people together and let them do what they do, and I do my part. You can't be a control freak and do that. So that means you're through. When you say through me, I'm just a vessel to bring this idea to fruition. I'm the vessel that you guys work through to bring this idea to fruition. So it's different types of leaderships. Some we know fucked up, but there's other styles that you can be this one or that one. But this is the through me. That's the person who completely lets go of control and be like, hey, well, what's going on? Shit, I don't know. Why you wake up at 11? Shit, I don't know. Show up late to my own meeting, but I know it's handled, and I know they came up with the best shit. I can be gone for a week, 2 weeks, and I know they got it. I don't say, I need you to use that color purple or green. I just need you to do your best work. And the best work gets done. And it may be completely away from what I thought with my brain, but that's how we got it set up. So we'll dibble and dabble in the different forms of these types of leaderships too. It's not all just one. We'll go here sometime too, go over there. We don't want to get caught in that first one though, get caught slipping. So we're going to continue down this rabbit hole. We're going to drive this down next week and the week after, but we getting real. We getting real. We gonna have some fun. So we'll call it.
Work here. Go real quick, for me real quick. Last slide, the previous slide that he was on. Keep going. Remember when I told you guys that the religious books teach you how to be excellent business people? If a preacher was teaching this, when you think they're talking about Jesus? I just want y'all to just look at that for a second. When he said complex adaptive systems, I gotta get some of this because this is good. But I'm gonna save some for next week because I hopefully he'll revisit this one, then we'll take off from where we started. The larger you get, the more control you lose. The larger you become in anything you do, the more control. Do you realize when the idea of a president was first created, how small the country was? And now when you say a president, you know how many industries that can change everything the president has no control over? Do you realize that anytime, like Google has thousands of employees, the founders will never ever know their fucking names. They don't even know they existed. And some of those employees are at the heart and value of their products and services. When you scale something to a larger scale, this here, you gotta be so secure in self to get here. You can't still be depending on outside people to validate you. You cannot be seeking value in this space. Often you won't be known, like for example, if you're running a company from that space, what happened to my slides? Oh, okay, don't take them down yet, I'm not done. But if you're running a company from that space, quite often, people won't even know who you are. You may not even make it to a history book. You may have the most amazing life, most impactful life. Last but not least, he said something else that I want to just kind of double tap that Court said. That's a space of leading from purpose. Many of us lead from desire. We don't lead from purpose. We desire to be valuable. We desire to be rich. We desire to be successful. We desire to have high status. When you move from purpose, all that stuff kind of almost, it's the reward you receive, but not the reward you seek. After a while, you realize power is something that you will receive, but you can't seek it. You got to trust the process that will reward you. And whatever it rewards you with, you got to be comfortable with it. But if you're trying to control the power you receive, it's going to downgrade your leadership. You got to be comfortable with seeking to achieve your purpose, and in that process, you're blown away by the power you receive because you wasn't seeking it. It's one of the benefits. If you're on a lower frequency, you staying right there. You're talking about the power you receive, and then you become victimized by that same power. You become victimized by it. But when you're moving on a different wavelength, the power, like when you listen to Charlie Munger and what's his name? Warren Buffett speak, they don't talk about money that way. They don't move by money. It's hard for him to talk about success like that. But when you're on that lower frequency, you damn near wearing Gucci everywhere you go, Louis Vuitton everywhere you go. You damn near like, because in the end, it's almost like you're getting your boost from your accomplishments as opposed to, like, I smile because I love my life. But I'm on a journey to save my people, and it is a path of discovery. It's not a path where I know what to do. This shit's heavy, y'all. This is really, I know some of y'all eyes might just went blank on me. Some of y'all might start thinking about what you're gonna eat when you get back home tonight. But I can promise you, this is one that many of you will never experience because your ego will fuck you. Like, remember I said a long time ago, at a certain level of scaling, the door, you have to go through the door of your ego. And if that door is too thick, you'll never have access to this. You'll never have access to this if you don't lower your ego. Because you're just too damn important. Change. Let me go. Because I hate him so much. Like, we be on the same frequency. I ain't talked to this man the whole week. Last time I talked to him, he was walking out that door. And I come back in here, I'm like, how in the fuck do we keep getting on the same frequency? It's crazy. Crazy. You know, it's crazy. I don't even have no sage in my house. Anyway, so what happened? You know, because I'm thinking maybe it's the power of sage. I don't know. You're like, oh man, I see where you're going now, right? But Peep Gabe, change. I was listening to Bo Lotto today. I'm gonna release this podcast to you guys, but I want to double tap this so you guys don't miss it when you listen to the podcast. He said, guess what we do? Because change is hard for all of us, right? Stay with me because I'm about to give y'all so many insights, and test it if you want. Y'all, your mom say, test it if you want. But I promise you the outcome is going to be real. And he said, change is so uncomfortable for human beings because change means walking into uncertainty. You remember the Bible says, take the walk of faith? Do you understand how hard the walk of faith is? By nature, the human being has been raised for dependency on certainty, because certainty meant life. Uncertainty meant death. So many of us, when you say change, I'm forcing you to build a relationship with uncertainty. Your whole life, you've hated uncertainty. Since you was a baby, uncertainty meant death. So now you're an adult that have to go down this path of uncertainty, and you're scared as fuck. He says, but guess what the human brain does when it gets overwhelmed with change? It stops focusing on changing itself, and it changes the world. That sounded positive, but it's negative. What do you mean he or she changes the world? When the human being struggles with change, you know what we do? We go out and we change our friends. We go back in. So let's say your environment that's forcing you to change. As soon as change gets overwhelming to you, you'll change the world, meaning that you'll go back and get people that make you comfortable being the way you are.
You will go find people that make you comfortable being the way you are because you're overwhelmed psychologically. Then you will do things that makes you very simple and binary. I just need to know the answers. Give me the recipe. Just tell me what to do. This is a common response to change. When you are uncomfortable with change, the first thing you do is change your world. You make the world fit your comfort zone of what you're certain of. Meaning that there's people that come to Hope and they're growing in their business. This happens. Stay with me because this is some serious shit for everybody in this class. I don't give a fuck what level you are in this class, whether you're entry level or whether you're the top notch of this class. This has happened so many fucking times in this class. I've seen people take this class and they start to grow. But they get so high in their growth, they have to change. So high. So they start coming to Hope. Because Hope represents this walk of uncertainty. And they go back home and they surround themselves with all their old loved ones, all their comfort zones. And I watch their businesses fall right in front of their face. This mindset of change is a fucking practice. But then Bolado says one more thing. I'm going to come back in a second. Bolado says, here's the solution. This goes back to what Court just taught. Here's the solution, y'all. Here's the solution. Don't move in the knowing, move in the understanding. Don't move in the knowing, move in the understanding. He gave an example of, show y'all, I told y'all I hate social justice, right? A gay man walks in the door and he does something that irritates me. And I turn to Court and goes, oh, he's just being gay. I assume my knowing on him. I didn't say, hey man, what's going on with him? Why do you think he's moving that way? But when I assume the knowing, I'm sitting in my biases. I'm sitting in my limited thoughts. If I walk in your house right now and I piss you off, you don't say, hey, why'd you do that? You go to your knowing. You hurt my feelings, you made me angry. Why would you do that? Oh, you just trying to disrespect me. Oh, you lying to me. Oh, you did me wrong. Oh, you breaking the rules. Oh, you sinning. Oh, you lying. Why did you do that? The more you move in the knowing, you are building the world that you can never leave. You say, what do you mean by that, Donna? You don't shift people's behavior. You expand their understanding. Let me say this again. If you want to change, don't focus on shifting your behavior. Expand your understanding. And guess what? Once your understanding is expanded, it's easier to move around, and before you know, you're changing by default. But if I tell you to shift, I'm putting you in a bipolar, it's either this or that. And that's just too much hard. That's too hard for your brain. This is why you can't go through life in survivor mode. Survivor mode is that when you're walking through life, all you're trying to do is just know and move and protect yourself, get from A to B, and that's all the fuck I care about. Understand? What the fuck I need to understand? All I know is I can't eat. When you get to this business shit, you got to spend all day trying to understand. This is why entrepreneurs listen to articles about all kind of shit happening around the world. We're reading history, we're reading psychology, we're reading all these cross disciplines, because as we understand more, it allows us to grow and expand and shift and adjust. And it's almost growth is unnoticeable. But when I say to myself, I got to be either this or that, the brain would think that, what's the word I'm looking for? Not discipline, but when you use that strength, that grit. Willpower. We think willpower is a tool of change. That shit, anybody ever try to use willpower for change? And you remember that day you thought you were something else? And you woke up the next week and found out you wasn't even close to that person? Willpower had you fucked up? If you really want to change your life, stop. You're going to have to expand your life. Your life cannot be anchored in just that fucking story, and then all you're doing is just trying to color this pipeline, as opposed to expand, come outside your own story, go into other people's story, learn other people why, and all of a sudden you start realizing, I got choices.
And then all of a sudden you get a chance to start designing your own life. But because you're moving the knowing, you don't even get a chance to design your own life. You're a victim of what you've been exposed to. That's it. Too much knowing and not enough understanding. This is why when things happen, let me keep it 100. This is how I respond every fucking time in my office. I get irritated first. This motherfucker, no, they didn't. Knowing kicks in first because that's where I came from. But when I get to you, I'm going to say, hey, why'd you do that? Can you give me some insight? Because I already know that I am the limitation because my knowing is doing no value. My knowing is just creating comfort for me. It's telling me, yeah, you know what happened, right? Oh, this chair. I think we never raised this chair all the way up. So that's fine. Yeah, there you go. Woo! I'm too short to be in a shrunk chair too. I feel like my daughter. And another thing I want to say. Anyway, as you realize how big the world is, you don't know shit. As you realize how old the world is, you don't know shit. Me and my business partner said, what's the difference between history and the Bible? History's not real. Huh? You don't know. You don't know. Let's just put it away. You don't know neither one. You don't know. History, when I tell you about history, that's my opinion of a very small incident that happened in one place in a world that's fucking huge. I took 1 billion people, 2 billion people and said, this one story means everything. The Bible tells you some angel flew down with wings on their back. They're both stories. They're equal. The person who uses history is just another preacher. That's all they are. You don't know anything. So you have to spend most of your time trying to understand. And a lot of times when you say, this is what I know, you're just trying to stay close to your comfort and stay consistent with your comforts. Now it goes back to that simple ass statement. If you want to grow, you got to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And nobody's willing to do that. Everybody says that shit when it suits their needs. But really, this change shit is hella uncomfortable because you got to walk away from your story. You have to move in understanding, not knowing. If you're constantly arguing what you know, you're not changing. You're never going to change. I can save you some time. You're going to change. You're going to change. It's impossible. The reason I'm able to keep evolving and changing, because I'm constantly learning, that gives me permission to change. If I take Nana from 19 and just stuck with that knowledge and continue to just build knowledge to justify my position, I'll be the same. I'll just be an evolved version of my 19-year-old self. Like next year, I'm going to change again. As I learn more stuff and as I expand, I get more choices. I get to upgrade all the time. So, for example, I might have had this choice. And then I'm out here in the IKEA of ideas. And I go, well, shit, I can change it with this piece. Well, as I learn more shit, I can change. And before you know it, I'm constantly evolving because my purpose is driving me, not my knowledge of self driving me. Understanding. This is why looking at people through labels fucking is retarded. It's absolutely stupid to look at people through labels. Because once I say label, that's all you are to me. Oh, wait, well, we don't know nothing, you privileged. All black folks, yeah, you know how black people are always acting like this. Oh, she Asian. Oh, she's gay. None of that shit applies. There's no understanding in that. This is why you're stuck arguing with people and you're so tensely getting angry at the house and going, this shit's so stupid. You want to go down there and march and fight other people behind the shit. It's because you think you know everything around you and you're not sitting down going, hey man, I don't agree with you, but can you tell me why you think that way? Because I need to learn from you. And the more you learn about the way other people think, the more it puts everything into context. And you move with more empathy and more insights. I was talking to a white woman at the Harley Davidson. This white woman's hella tight. She hella cool. Her and her husband owns a Harley Davidson in Oakland. We got into some politics. She said, yeah, I don't understand why people just can't pull themselves out of the bootstraps. And I said, you know what? Now, some black folks got mad about that. Oh, see, white privileged woman. I said, no, I actually understand where you're coming from. I'll just get your perspective. Let me share an insight that you probably wouldn't see. But I totally get where you're coming from. Because if I had your perspective, I would have the exact same view. But here's some things you cannot see because they were never provided to you through school or anything else. So I totally understand your position, but now you can see why this is a challenge. She's like, oh, I never had an idea. Here's two opposing ideas that was a conversation because I was seeing her. That same situation could have been an argument if I knew her and then I projected from what I knew about her based upon what she said to me. Oh, I need a little evidence. Yeah, I know your kind. No, I'm moving understanding. So even when Donald Trump made his moves, Donald Trump was a good practice for me. I used him as a practice. Where's he coming from? Okay, that's some harsh truth. You just can't say it publicly. Okay, but he is a billionaire, so he does move by different rhythms. Okay, he really don't give a fuck about a lot of these things. So yet the person who's like, oh my God, I would never say that. Yeah, because you never be Donald Trump either. So I don't think this conversation is weird. Like I want you guys to see where I'm going with this. Like knowing and understanding, it brings a lot of anger down. You have less enemies in this world. You ain't checking for nobody. You ain't coming for nobody. You realize when I say most people are good, this is the realm I'm in. Knowing versus understanding. Most of us think we know people, so we deem them the good, bad, evil. These hood cats are evil out there. Once you get to know them, you realize they're hungry people. They're scared. They got a taste of money during COVID and said, why do I need to go back to that? They were ignored when they were in school in the streets when their mom was on crack and there was no one for them. And now you want to act like they should do this. Based upon fucking what? Or do you know them? A bunch of hoodlums, thugs, bippers. They're out there disrespecting people. Whatever happened to the moral code? See, this is why we need God. You don't understand nothing. You just know. See the difference? All right, let's do a fun exercise. Shibishi, you on board? Can you get it to a Microsoft Word document? Okay. Let's do an exercise, y'all. I want to do some exercises. Y'all want to do some exercise? Not real exercise, because this ain't a chance for you to make no money. And Shakina ain't out there with no goddamn cash register, because I say exercise. She'd be like, well, let's line up. But let's get this first exercise. So the first question we asked today, hold on. And I want you guys to let's just play it, because I don't want to eat up a lot of time with this, because I want to move into some of this stuff, because Court got this class started. What advantages, and I want you to start naming all stuff. On the line, I want you to participate as well. So Shabisha, if you can also post online. Shabisha's going to put this on, but what advantages come with having a strong family in the community? So what are the advantages of a strong family and or community, or both? So I want you guys to start lobbing up the answers. What are the advantages of strong family, strong community? Go ahead. We're going to let Josiah go exercise. So go ahead and pass the microphone around, Josiah. Woo, Josiah, you take your waist belt off. Go ahead, pass that around. Okay.
I would say security.
Security, okay. Let's keep it going. Tennille's in the background. When Tennille Helens go up, y'all better leave her alone.
Okay, I would say accountability.
Now, which one is that? Is that family or community?
I think both.
Okay.
It could apply to both.
Okay. Security, accountability. Shakina's hand up. Shakina looking at you like you take that microphone from me one more time. Go ahead.
For both, come back to me. I'm sorry.
I would say for both, if you have a strong community and family, you have loyalty and trust.
Loyalty and trust. Okay. Go ahead. Just keep going. There you go. Just keep rolling. Yeah. You got Cuz over here.
If your family's been there for a minute, they might already have some skin in the game. And community, if it's a strong community, you might get support.
Got skin in the game, support. That's some good ones, youngster.
For both of them, respect.
Respect. There you go. Did you say Alabama respect, though? Say respect one more time.
Respect.
There you go. Look at here. Y'all better get over that Alabama respect. Come on, that's all y'all got? Come on, let's keep it moving. Come on now.
Knowledge and traditions being passed down.
Knowledge being passed down. Okay. It's kind of like skin in the game a little bit, but let's keep it. Let's push it. Let's push your brain. Come on, we're gonna give more than one answer. You don't have to just give one answer. You know, come on, let's push the game. Push it.
Infrastructure,
Infrastructure. That's a good one.
honest.
And what else?
Is honesty up there?
Honesty.
Honesty.
Okay, honesty. Okay, I'll go with that. I'll let that ride for the sake of this moment. Okay.
Or in more clarity, people like feedback. Like people.
Feedback. That's a good one. Let's go ahead. Okay. All right, you got two people behind you. Look at that boy sweating. You're about to ruin his perm. Anyway, go ahead.
You wrong. I would say for both you would have a strong team.
A strong what? Team. Strong team. That's right. Strong team.
I want to give one real quick. Hair. Oh wait, my bad. You don't got that. No, I had to get you, but
it's okay.
Protection.
Protection. Okay, yeah, you need all that. Protection.
Resources.
Resources. That's a good one too. That's the one that we forget about all the time. That a strong community and a strong family allows you to have investment power. Resources. Jonathan. Yeah, what?
Protection.
Yeah.
I was going to say a safety net.
Safety net. Okay, yours is different than his. He's talking about something else. He goes late. He hangs out late at night. So safety net. Anybody else? Oh, he gonna get these jokes. I ain't gonna stop. Anybody else? Preservation. Okay. Oh shit. Wait a minute. We got some strange voices
I'd
coming.
be a total girl. But love and emotional stability.
That's ain't no girl. That's it. Brothers need that shit too. Love, emotional shit. Look, if we start killing everybody, we don't get that. Shit. Men without love is dangerous. Anybody else? So when you think about strong family and strong community, what are the benefits? Okay, there you go. Look at Tennille. She's firing it up.
Okay, this is real important and it's lacking in a lot of spaces, but I think a foundational piece to this is strong men.
Oh.
Strong men. Like,
hey.
Yeah, I had to say that.
I'm part of a strong family and community. You understand me? That's what I'm saying. Look here. You better stop talking about me in front of these people, girl. Anyway, strong men. Okay, go ahead.
I think like what we talked about earlier, it can lead to entitlement.
Entitlement, yeah, it doesn't lead to a certain degree of entitlement. That was look at Jordan trying to come in with his own just programming some knowledge up in here.
More ownership of the community.
More
and
ownership.
Our civic responsibilities.
Whoa, ownership, nice one. That comes from strong community. Yeah. Who else? Okay.
I feel like if we're talking about it leading to entitlement, it can also lead to maybe enabling.
To which one?
Enabling.
Enabling, yes, it does enable. Yes, in a positive way, 100%. Okay, we good for now? You ready? Go for next question number 2? Yeah. Okay, so question number 2. Here's the fun part. Hold on a second. Let me go back to I'm always. So, what sacrifices are necessary for a healthy family and community? So, what sacrifices is necessary to achieve these things? Now the conversation gets different.
I think time is one.
Time. Hey, by the way, that's a big one. So you're going to have to sacrifice time for strong family and strong community. I want to log that on just real. Do you understand? Like, there's events and celebrations that may not make sense to you, or may not be within your time, or you're too busy for. Time. Next one.
Consistency and willing to be selfless.
Consistency and selflessness. Yes. Okay, wait, we got Gabby back there. Make sure Gabby get that. Look at Gabby back there. Look here. We done woke her up. We doing all right.
Contributing.
Contributing. That's right. That's right. Look at her. Y'all better watch out for her. She'll be taking this microphone later.
A willingness to accept your role within the family and the community.
Can you say that again? Because some people thought you were speaking Spanish and they didn't finish Spanish school. So can you say it again? Say again.
Your willingness to accept your role in the family and the community.
Did I hit you in the chest? Did I hit anybody in the chest? Come on, let's be real. Because do you know your roles and responsibility? Anybody else? Let's go. That's. Come on now. Let's go.
Understanding.
I would say sometimes no. Because sometimes what's asked of you when you evolve in a community, you won't understand. I think that's one of the dangers of young people is like they feel like they don't make sense to them. It doesn't make any sense because they're stuck in a myopia. They don't look at the bigger picture or they don't understand the hidden danger that you haven't experienced in a long time. And you may do this thing over and over that it makes no sense. But when the danger arrives, you're shocked. But the elders are trying to tell you, no, you need to do this every time because when it arrives, it does. But when it doesn't, you just won't know. So understanding it so often can be over leveraged in youth. Go ahead, but we get it back to you. Shakina, go ahead.
Delayed gratification.
Delayed gratification.
I have a few. Letting go of being right and not always having the answers.
Okay, not delayed gratification, letting go of being right, and not always having the answers. By the way, are we getting people online? Yep. Okay, there you go. Look at y'all tight back there. You said they both just be like, don't ask that question again. Go ahead. Yeah. And not
not always having the answers.
Not always having the answers. So we need to responsibilities. A strong community, what does it take for a strong community and strong family?
Sacrificing bad habits.
Sacrificing habits, period. Habits,
Yeah,
period.
just habits, period, yeah.
Sacrificing habits. We're gonna let Gabby get it first and we can bring it back. Look at Shakira's like, why y'all keep passing my microphone around?
Patience.
What do you say?
Patience.
Patience. Huge. Huge. Give Shakira the microphone back.
It's killing me, y'all. It hurts so bad. Your comfort zone.
Rich culture, rich community requires a disruption of your comfort zone. Anybody else? Go ahead.
I didn't get it when he said understanding, and then your response, I didn't understand. Can you?
So a lot of times when you're part of a bigger group, you won't always have understanding in the early stages of service. You ever had young people go like, why I clean, why I gotta do this? Why I gotta do this? Why I gotta do that, right? Or why I gotta show up to this celebration? What does this mean? Like, a strong family and some stuff is rituals. And you can gain understanding, but in the early stages, you got to look at the ritual as the outcome is more important than the understanding of the ritual. I can get into some deeper conversations about this on like some stuff that like most of us don't understand life as it is. And the number one goal for human beings is to survive, and a group is part of our survival. Some of our survival is recognizing possible traumas that rarely come around, black swans. But a lot of times young people come along, like for Christianity, right? I can argue that Christianity was a mental health institution in the black community, right? But in the 90s and 2000s, everybody was like, oh, the Bible's not true. We can't find Noah's Ark. Oh my God, you talking about some dude split some river, ocean up. This is trash, right? So then there was a huge migration from black folks going, we're not with this church stuff, right? But I can also tell you the Founding Father story is trash. The Constitution is trash. All these old stories are trash. Boy, shut up. So what are you saying here, Nana? We need stories for a healthy survival on this earth. And a lot of stories in the Bible, whether they're true or not true,
produce healthy behavior from large groups, right? But when you're young, you don't see that because you're stuck in right versus wrong. So the reason I say that's a dangerous comment, because depending on what perspective you're coming from, like when you're young, it's okay to do young shit, right? I don't want to make young feel like it's wrong because we all did that shit. I don't want to cross a bridge and then burn the shit after I left. You'd be like, nobody should act like that. Like, no, I did the same shit. What I'm suggesting is that when you're young, you won't have understanding. You should seek understanding, but you won't have it. But just because you don't have understanding doesn't mean that you don't support it, right? I remember they used to say this old saying, like, grandma got you here because of Christianity, and then you're going to get in front of her and curse it? You lost your mind? You better show some respect. Even if you don't understand why, because as you grow, you realize, oh, jeez, I don't have kids. I had no idea that was serious. So a lot of things, when you talk about cultural survival, you have a limited perspective no matter what. Let's say I'm an older person. What's wrong with these young people? You used to do the same fucking thing. What are you talking about? Right? And so we got to be able to move. Yes, we want to understand, and we always seek understanding, but we can't depend on understanding. That's what I'm saying. So understanding is valuable, but a lot of times healthy culture, whatever, is sometimes blind rituals that have great outcomes. Now, you should measure the outcome. If the outcome's not working, then it should be challenged by the youth. But if it's just, I don't understand it, and we're just not going to do it, which you often hear now today, that's dangerous. Go ahead, Shakita.
Loyalty to stories and self-proclaimed labels.
Loyalty to stories and what?
Self-labels. Explanation meaning, like, in order for us to have strong families and communities, sometimes we have to let go of the things that are preventing them, like your core beliefs being like, well, I gotta make it, or I don't need nobody, or I could do it by myself, or I'm a strong black woman, I'm a strong black man, or I came from, like just all these stories
models.
and
Toxic mental models. Yeah, toxic mental models. Avoidance, divorce of toxic mental models. Yeah, those are ones like I'm gonna be rich by the time I'm older. That's a toxic mental model, right? It's like, so you lose your whole life defining everything about you being successful to the point that you even bypass your own family. Or you won't even see your community because your community's in the way because I'm supposed to be successful. That's a powerful one. That's kind of a really deep one. Go ahead.
Would you say sacrificing some of your beliefs is necessary too?
Yes, it does. Absolutely does. If you're Jewish in a Jewish community, you can learn all you about what you want to learn about, but you're still loyal to this Jewish thing we're doing over here. You can examine, you can even say some things are wrong. But when it's time for that Jewish event, you know how to dress. You don't even need to follow religion. You want to follow religion? Don't want to follow religion? Cool. You know how to show up though, right? I know what you want to wear. You want to wear your pajamas. I wish your ass would. I wish your ass would. I don't care what your beliefs and your feelings. Fuck your emotions. Put that outfit on. That hamaka, what is it, hamaka? Yarmulke. Sorry, all my Jewish people, shut out. Don't get sensitive. Shut up. There's only one Jewish person beat up that's behind me. Anyway, the point is this. Rest of Jewish people, shout out to you. This other one, just forget it, y'all knew him. Anyway. But keep rolling. This cat. Anybody else? I want y'all to see this example we're going to go into. I want you to look at that example, and I want you to read, go through those time. So all those beautiful things you set up top, are you really putting time in? Are you consistent in these areas? Are you contributing in these areas consistently? Are you willing to access your role within the family? Are you willing to play your role? Are you really still disturbed that you have a role? Well, I gotta have a role. Are you willing to let go of being right for the sake of your family? Not always having to have the answers. Are you willing to say, I don't always have the answers? Are you willing to sacrifice your own personal habits, the things that you like to do, to take care of your family and your community? Do you have patience with your family and your community? Are you willing to be uncomfortable to make the next generation comfortable? I mean, like you put your child through school and you can't buy shit. You drive a hoopty. You don't get to do chance to do a lot of shit, and you ain't telling everybody. You ain't throwing it in the child's face and everybody else's face. You know what I have to give up to make you happy? We're gonna go back down. I ain't finished. I gotta keep going. Don't ruin my flow. Okay, yeah, you better. Are you willing to divorce the toxic mental models of this has always been my dream? This is who I am. I gotta be true to myself. Keep going. I can't see what I was. Scroll down. Can you let go of your individual beliefs and realize that you do belong to a group and there's responsibility that goes along with that? Do you see yourself as an individual? Jump on in, brother. This is okay. I jumped all over. I was all in your messages. Yeah, I was saying he goes just for a second. Oh boy, we got all these young dudes. Well, at least Scott used to working out though. It's okay. It just reminded me this morning taking my daughter to school, and she go to a private school, but the car in front of me, it was like a 96, like Lexus 350.
Oh.
And 3 little girls came out. And I was just thinking about, man, that's a good brother. Because he's willing to sacrifice driving something fancy, because I was doing the math on each little kid based on mine, but he was willing to sacrifice driving what he want to drive to invest in his daughter's higher education. And it's going to pay off in terms of health later.
That's fire. I want you guys to understand this. So remember we talked about the utopia last week and the standardizing, right? Many of us can only dream of the positive and never take in consideration the negative is just as equal. There's no separation. Y'all get relationships, y'all get relationships for the happy times. Don't realize you should get a relationship for the bad times too. It's all part of it. You guys want to be successful, but you guys don't want to do the work that success requires. That means you have to get your emotions scratched a lot. That means you're going to be uncomfortable a lot. That means that you're not going to be able to do what you want to do a lot. That means that sometimes you're going to spend money on things that you don't want to spend money on a lot. But most of y'all only think about the money, the car, the success, the house, the clothing, the jewelry, the partners. You don't take in 4 seconds and take the second half of the list. I'm sure if you go home right now, many of you guys are missing some of these layers on this list. But I promise you, your ego have made you echo out of your own mouth, I'm really strong with my family and my community. Because you don't have time for none of those. You've been strong for your community. You ain't seen your community since your community seen you. Matter of fact, if the community doesn't make you money, fuck the community. Community serves one purpose, is to help you reach your dreams. So you're not thinking about how can I invest in this community and how can I build a relationship so there's a system where I benefit them, they benefit me. You like, how can a community make me grow? Contributing. You only give donations when your status is on the line. You don't find ways to give back in ways that make sense so your family and your community and your extended families are strong. Roles. Your ego tells you ain't no role for you. You a G. You a hero. You that strong black whatever blah 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 blah. Nobody gonna tell me what to do. I this. Delayed gratification. I brought it because I wanted it. That's what I wanted, so what? If you go down that list, you can kind of tell that I don't want to keep taking down this just rhythm. I want you guys to see how there's a huge disconnect from what you value and how you show up are two different things. And if those things in your life are not working, you're probably fucking up on this second half of the list. Simple connection. But if you open your eyes tomorrow and walk around and pay attention, even a lot of these activists who are community activists, they don't follow that goddamn list. They want to live happily ever after because things just worked out well. You came in my life and you made me happy. No, I'm also make you miserable. There's gonna be days you're not gonna want to touch me for months. That's all part of human experience. But when it happens, y'all ready to like cut that person and move on to the next, realizing, no, that's all part of the same experience. If you love the love part, you gotta love the disgust part. Some days we just talking, it's like every time I say something, you say it next. When I said, you said, I said. Hey, you be the cutest. The next week, this motherfucker said one more word. It's the same thing, people. It's the same thing. But somehow we think it's two separate things. And when this side show up, this is why when you get married in a year, I think it's the stupidest shit ever. Because you fell in love with one side of the relationship and you have no relationship to the other side of the relationship. Everybody's been on the best behavior. We've been letting shit go left and right. You know what, girl? You so beautiful, it don't even matter. I mean, yeah, you did eat a lot, but shit, I mean, you go through a lot. And you're a lot of woman, and that's what I want. You give me all I want. 6 months later, girl, you eating a little bit too fucking much. Your stomach getting really big. I'm tired of them two tops. It don't make sense no more. Do you still love that person, though? Do you still love that person? Like, she smells so good. Have you been in the room when she passed gas? Do you still love him? Are you still attracted to him? I want you guys to see, like, love is not this, we bank everything on the happiness, the upper list. When we get to the second list, it's, oh, Jesus, I'm not even sure this is the right person. Oh, shit, I don't know if I want to do this business shit no more. Black people get on my fucking nerves. You see where I'm going with this? It's one and the same, people. The separation got you fucked up. Separation got you looking for one side of the equation. This is why you keep finding toxic relationships. Yes, that woman was good in bed. Yes, oh my God, they funny. Yes, she nasty. Yes, they toxic. Yes, they two people in one person. You got Sybil coming to the house. Yes, she need money and she always looking at you like you gonna pay something. Yes. Did you fall in love with that one too? Now you mad the other one showed up. Why you mad? Why was you looking for that from the beginning? In business. Yes, when you're an entrepreneur and you pop it, everybody's, oh my God, Shakina's an entrepreneur, man, you see her gym, it's hella fly. Does she act the same way when there's a hole in the roof? It's the same thing. Can't have a fly building with a hole in the roof. Man, today Shakina just made $30,000. She rolling, dog. If she keep this going, she gonna shut down 2 more months. She taking a vacation for the rest of the year. I'm out. Cancun. What about the day when the day is bad? Wait, why are you mad? It's the same thing. You can't have all good days. The bad days is part of the equation. You guys want to go on with this, like how we disconnect from this? What's wrong with our this is radical responsibility in the making. When you take radical responsibility, you realize I own all this. I don't own just, if you're not radical responsibility, go to the top of the list. Scroll down for me. When you're not in radical responsibility, this is what you own. Security, accountability. I got loyalty and trust and stuff. I got skin in the game. Support. RESPECT, you know what that means to me. This is shit you own. Get to the bottom of the list, which is the same thing. Flip the list to the bottom, which is what you gotta take. I gotta give them my fucking time. Consistency. I got other shit to do. Contributions. Oh, y'all think I ain't gotta pay for my own bills? Huh? What'd you say? Bro, so now you trying to shrink me into this male-female shit. Oh, you got me fucked up. Gratification, I told you, thank you. Shit, what else you want from me? I'm happy with the fuck I got. This shit's just getting old shit. Being right, you know I ain't never wrong anyway. Yeah, that's one thing y'all need to know. Y'all know what the answer is? Let me tell you what's going on. I've been doing some research. I gotta smoke my weed, do my drinking. Now you want me to go out here and try to help everybody else out? Fuck you think I'm gonna do? Let me smoke this last joint. I'm gonna talk about that. I want y'all to see how this is like radical. That's why when he's talking about radical responsibility, if you don't see all this as yours, and you're only seeing one side, that's why you're talking fault, because you don't understand the other part, what it takes to have what you want. Once you understand what it takes to have what you want, then you realize, yo, this bad day, oh yeah, get that to me. I need that. That's what I want. That's what I asked for. Y'all see them gas prices in the Bay Area? It's almost $6 a gallon right now, right? Okay, it's $5 at Costco, right? If you got super unleaded, it is hell no. Hell no, don't you drive that car out the house. Right? You know, and yet, guess what? I own that too. When I brought that car with that fucking unnecessary size engine that I don't never use, that I wanted just in case I want to use it, you understand me? Well, now that's my gas prices. I can't be at the gas station like, it's a motherfucking shit. I'm feeling some kind of, no, I'm not feeling no kind of way. What the fuck am I gonna do with this? I chose that car. You chose her. Why are you talking to me about this, pimpin'? Like I just want y'all to understand, like, nobody wants to own. I remember when Shakira came in and she wanted to have Nzinga. She walked in the room, she said, no, I want to have another child. I didn't go into like he or she gonna be so cute, they're gonna do this, and go to school, and you know. That's like, I call it a Lake Mirror man, because when you go to Lake Mirror on Saturdays, men be talk like this with their wives. You know, it's gonna be so cute and this and the other, right? I never seen so many men talk like women who are not gay. Like if you're gay like that, it's cool. I don't get it. Straight men, it's so cool. First thing I said to her is, I said, baby, you understand the responsibility to go along with that choice, right? Because once you say this, you at this age, there's gonna be a disruption. Here's the sacrifices. I'm at this age, I only can give you this. Are you willing to, is that equation still making sense to you? Because I need you to own all of this negative stuff. So as we're gonna have fun stuff, that's a given. But let's sit down and have a discussion about all these responsibilities. Process what that means to you. What you're gonna have to give, all the disruption of self that's about to get disrupted. All this self shit you're talking about, I need my space. You ain't getting that. You ain't getting that. Cost, you getting that. Right? Now, if you say cool, I'm willing to move forward. What I experienced in the past is people want to have kids, and then when we get here, they want to fuss about the responsibilities. Oh, she got me paying child support. Pimp. Did you just say you fuss about child support? Didn't you think about that before you went to bed with her? Like, if you felt about child support, you should just went to the bathroom and came back and said, hey, that's enough for me. We good. Okay? I don't want to take no chances. I got to go home with my money in my pocket. But once you decided to bring a child into this world on purpose or accident, the choice was going into the house. Once you in that house, sit down and go, can I afford this? Young men, go talk to older men and say, how much does this shit cost? What? And I'm talking about time, attention, and money. If you don't know what that is, don't get drunk by that top half. And then in the bottom half, you want to go talk to your other young peers. Oh, this all messed up. I can't even play. I can't even join a motorcycle club no more. I can't do nothing for myself. Shut up. Shut up. This separation is so common. I know we sit in this class acting like it ain't me, but if y'all be honest with you, you know goddamn well a lot of people in this class like, fuck. I want a strong community. You don't even go down to school and participate in volunteer work. You don't even go to the local park and talk to the kids. You drive by motherfuckers with your windows up, your air conditioner. See, look at that's that nappy-headed heifer right there doing all that crazy stuff with them badass kids. You don't want strong community. You too stuck in yourself. Ain't that a cold game? I want y'all, so when y'all start saying, hey, My community's fucked up. My family's fucked up. My relationship's fucked up. My kids are fucked up. Ask yourself those questions. What responsibilities are you taking on? Do you own those responsibilities? Or do you look at those responsibilities as you're being victimized because there's something that's being projected on you that you didn't really ask for? Fuck your emotions. Next slide. Let's get nice. This is a nice class. We nice, huh? Let's jump into some second order thinking. Now, you know this last exercise has to do with second order thinking, right? Are you aware of that we just did a second order thinking exercise? Let me explain this real quick to you about second order thinking. It's really important so you can kind of put this in context. It's the effects of the effects. But you can't see the effects of effects if you can't see systems and you can't see how the world works. If you can't see psychology, you can't see the effects of the effects. If I walk in this room, everybody please forgive me now, like saying a pause. What you bitches up to today? Right? I gotta realize that's gonna create some effects. I might just lost 10% of the class, right there. Now, I may really feel that because that's the way we talk at the house. But you better know goddamn well, don't grab that microphone and say it. Right? You got it, because why is that? Because there's a certain group of women who are going through something right now, and that will hurt. Hurt deeply. One of my early classes, I used to be like, yo, you know, that pimping me. I don't say that shit ever again. Even I told Scott the other day, I said, don't play the pimp side of the music. Because if you play the pimp side of the music, there's some woman who's been abused in a player pimped out relationship that's going to trigger her. Now, mind you, there's certain triggers I don't give a fuck about. I just don't give a fuck about because I can't own that for you. It's not my responsibility to make you feel good about every fucking thing you're going through. Those who are deeply depressed, I'm not going to solve your problems. That's not my job. But there are certain levels of respect because I believe in a strong community. And I got to walk in that respect. And I will constantly evolve what that is based upon me learning more and more about different people and the value of things I say. Second order thinking is impossible if you don't learn about the way systems work, people work. So systems is the big step. When you step back and you look at it, like, for example, if you look at the world as 100 to 150 people or what you could think of, all the people you know, you don't see the rest of the billions of people. System thinking allows you to look at the world from a large number and then start to see that the rules of large numbers are different. Psychology allows you to see the individuals in front of you. You got to learn how to see patterns and trends. You got to learn to see history and politics. You got to learn how to see economics. You got to learn how to see biology. All that is into your ability to have mastery of second order thinking. If you're not looking at all these combinations of disciplines and you're just going through life in survival mode, second order thinking is going to sound like the world that's attacking you that you have no access to when you have all the control. Next slide. Shabisha, let's warm it up. Ready?
Yep.
Any questions about the exercise or anything else before we go on any further? Before we jump into second order thinking? Can y'all give Shakina back her microphone, please? By the way, let me say something. Even though I'm joking with her, let me share with y'all the hidden brilliance of what she's doing. Shakina's life depends on how well Pinpoint runs. If Pinpoint fails, she don't eat. She don't get no bonus checks. She don't get no EBT checks. She don't get no hair checks. She gets nothing, right? All she gets is what she makes. Shakina understands that sitting in this chair and just listening to me, she doesn't have context. So when she's asking those questions, she's playing the winning game, which is I'm trying to eat tomorrow. I need ownership of this shit. Give me as much as I can own right now because I'm trying to improve because I realize my improvement is directly tied to my survival. Some of y'all looking at improvement as just shining in front of your friends and family. This is how she eats. So when I'm teasing her, but also I'm recognizing I'm teasing a giant, not teasing somebody who's really small. Go ahead.
Thank you. I just had a question on that last slide, the the drawing that was to the
Oh, pull that,
side of it?
Danielle, pull that up. Go back to that drawing. 'Cause I didn't know look at the drawing.
It was like decisions, and then there was a split chart, A, B, etc. I was just curious as to like what that meant, if that was intentional.
Yeah, that's actually pretty tight. So A and B can feel exactly equal choices, right? And as you move out further, it can seem like one can seem like almost a discomfort, a bad choice, an uncomfortable choice. It's coming back to what this is actually similar to an illustration of what Court brought up about, is this what I really want? Like asking that second question, is this the best solution? A lot of times the worst solution can be actually the best solution. There's a lot of things that Donald Trump said that actually was smart. It just came off in a way that was uncomfortable to us because of where we were. And if you actually build that idea out, it may create discomfort on the second level of the effect, but at the lowest level, next level of effect, on the second order thinking. So you might say, okay, if I take B, this will happen. Oh, that's gonna be a lot of work. Oh, it's gonna cost me a lot of money. Oh, wait a minute, that's an investment. The return is what? Right? This other one will be like, oh yeah, everybody love this one. But once you get into it, you're like, I'm going broke. Remember Kaja, when Kaja did her event, that she took A. If I talked to her about B, she'd been upset. Like, I don't like that one. I'm going with A. Sometimes things you don't like is actually the thing that has the highest return. Especially when you first start investing for the first time. Investment feels like pulling teeth when you first start. Because it feels like you're always giving something up. Are you paying for something? But when the return comes in, you realize, ooh, wait a minute, when I throw in $1, I get back $3. How many dollars can I get? But the first day you threw that dollar in, you feel like you lost $1 or you spent $1. You see the difference? So that's what that illustration is highlighting. All right, let's roll. Okay, go ahead.
Almost everyone can anticipate the immediate results of their actions.
Mm-hmm.
This type of first-order thinking is easy and safe.
So everybody can pretty much say, if I do this, this is going to happen. Everybody can do that, right? Keep going.
But it's also a way to ensure you get the same results that everyone else gets.
So if you just continue to go on your first impulsive response to a decision, you can almost get the same results. If you want to, so since 1950, black folks economically have not changed to this day. We're the same level we were in the 50s as a group. Economically in the exact same space, right? So if you want to continue to have the same path that black folks have had for the last 50 years, just do the basic this then that then this. Keep going.
Second order thinking is thinking farther ahead and thinking holistically.
This is hard.
It requires us to not only consider our actions and their immediate consequences, but the subsequent effects of those actions as well.
Mm-hmm.
Failing to consider the second and third order effects can unleash disaster.
I can tell you right now, this requires a lot of calories, a lot of listening, a lot of observations, a lot of understanding how things evolve. I'll give you a simple example. Your child wants to eat candy. Okay, let me give you my example. I'm 5 years of age. My grandmother gives me Slick malt liquor beer at 5. Now, what's the first impulse? It's the X, right? I fucking hate beer. You can't bring beer close to me without me throwing up, right? You don't really know the outcome. If you just judge it when you watch her give me the beer, you're gonna be like, oh my God, this grandmother's horrible, right? Now, one thing about a lot of Southern folks is they got a chance to watch a lot of patterns. Mm-hmm. Their intelligence was based upon pattern observation. So they can see something coming 5, 6, 7 steps down the road. Look, boy, if you do this, mm-hmm. you're gonna work for you today, mm-hmm. but it's gonna catch you at some point, right? Or they'll do these things and you're thinking, why did you do this? And then a child gets on you like, oh, that shit worked. Okay, that was great. So a lot of times in this, to actually get to the point where you can consider the next level, you gotta learn how things beget this, that begets this, that begets that. And learn to see historical patterns
and learn, and you can't listen. You cannot listen to common street talk. You know, when black people do this, when white people do this, you know, when this happened, you can't listen to that. A lot of that stuff is based upon myths. You got to literally learn causations. I don't think you guys understand causations are so fucking hard to understand. One thing can happen, but it can have multiple causations. And at different degrees in timing, they can cause an effect. So even if you repeat the same action doesn't guarantee the same causation if it doesn't mix with this other causation. I listened to Judge Joe Brown the other day, and I forgot what the idea was, but he was highlighting what most black people think, and that was including me. And then he went into the legal reason and the economic reason why it really happens. Didn't even see it. And I started to realize how much I can't see. I can't see. There's so many systems moving with so many different intents that the outcome, you can easily say, oh, this happened because of this. And then the deeper you get into it, you realize, well, it's about 12 different reasons it happened. And it can be ranked this way, but this one also can substitute with this variable as well. You'll start to realize that you can't really understand causation of a lot of stuff today. What folks think we can understand causation historically? One of the things I argue was, I can argue why Malcolm X wasn't a good builder and he wasn't good for the movement. I can argue that. If you understand the principles of building. But did he win us over through charisma? Okay, let me help you out with this one. There's this thing that says, most people loved, if you want to make people read, I post this in our class. I posted it in our Facebook group. If you want to make people read, most people will read stuff that's fun, right? So most people will read stuff that's fun, which means you should learn how to read stuff that's not fun. Which also means that, so then Mashama asked me, wow, the black church is based upon fun, when yet the scripture stuff that is really tight is not fun to read. I said, yeah, but look at the old institutions like Catholicism that's just not fun. Catholicism is just not fun. I don't care what y'all say. For black folks, if you've ever been to Catholic church, in that 30 minutes, I'm holding on. Right? I'm holding on. Right? And anytime the priest speaks, I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm going to ride this ritual out so I can get up out of here. Okay. But the institution also has different layers of knowledge. So you have the superficial layer and you have the real complex intellectual layer, right? Like, so for example, Jesuits is top of the game. Then you have like the everyday Sunday goers, which might be a little more casual, right? Same thing in Judaism. You have different layers to intelligence, right? The religion that came out of the slavery era is pretty much a fun, like singular level type institution. Yes, it has Bible studies, but it's kind of flatlined. And even Bible studies, it's the fun stuff that kind of dominates the conversations, right? So then I said to Mashama, watch this. But Mashama, are you surprised? Because in the entrepreneur world, guess who dominates? Charisma, not intelligence. Yet if you want to be good in business, you got to practice intelligence. There's so many people come to this class that if I go straight into the intelligence side, you're like, man, yo. But as soon as I started entertaining them, all right, man, class was so good last night. Oh my God, now that shit was just so deep. Oh, really? Was it deep? Or are you trained not to think? Cold game, huh? So black churches victimized by the same thing. That Bible's extremely deep. Everything court taught today, you can find scriptures to support it. Pastor Chris, I was talking to Pastor Chris. Pastor Chris said that's one of his favorite books of all time, the book he's teaching right now. Pastor Chris studies that book in thorough details. He uses that book in combination with the way he studies the Bible. By the way, the brother who wrote the book used to be a minister, I think he was. The guy who wrote the book, I think he used to be a minister. This ain't nothing new. But many of y'all don't even know that's in the Bible because you're only looking for the fun stuff. He walked on the water, spoke to the burning bush. Oh my God, he ascended.
What? That's all you got, huh? Yet, I struggle. I don't know how to build my business, Nana. And you know me as a devout Christian. I ain't supporting Chris today. That's Chris' job. Let me go back to my job. Okay. All right. By the way, let me speak to another thing. I'm gonna speak to Chris's brilliance. I don't want y'all to pay attention to this. Chris is a devoted pastor, a real pastor. He ain't no wannabes. Chris has a large congregation. He's a full-time pastor. He ain't no part-time pastor. Chris is well respected amongst his peers. T.D. Jakes even asked him to come with him to speak on the panel. Chris practices the Bible. He's in class every Wednesday practicing entrepreneurship. Chris is a continuum of practice. He may tell jokes because, okay, if Chris is in here right now, I'm going to turn his microphone off because he got jokes and he's fast. Right? Me and him we can go to work for like 3 days straight and nobody's going to win. It's going to be a bloody mess and all we left is our ego on the floor. But don't get that humor twisted. When he's laughing, he's analyzing his butt off. And he's always in a space where he's critically processing and thinking. So even in his greatness, you would think, well, what do you need class for? Because Bolada also said this. Stay with me, y'all. Bolada said this. We often say mind and body, and we treat them like that. Mm-hmm. So if you say to me, I want to get thin and I want to be healthy, you know what you got to do with your body. Ain't nobody going to say, should I sit on the couch longer? Should I eat more candy? Should I become a taste tester? You all know that's not going to work. What you say is, I need to exercise. And you know that losing weight is not enough. Because if you lose it and go back to the couch, you return to where you started. Why don't we get that for the mind? How come we don't get the basic message, which is, if you're not exercising the mind, don't be shocked when you find out you're weak, mentally weak. Don't be surprised when you start making a lot of bad decisions, impulsive decisions. Don't be surprised that your emotions become so dominant to the point that you're thinking through the process of the way you feel. Is that some cool shit? Go ahead, Sheena.
I was just going to say that also people have the tendency to frame the end goal as an only positive thing, like weight loss, for example. Oh, I want to lose weight because I'm going to feel good, but they don't count like the bad days, the soreness, the times you fail, the time, like all of the negative things that happen in that journey of trying to achieve the good thing. Like there's so many horrific days in being healthy, being fit. There's so many days where you're like, why the hell am I doing this? But that the respecting of the process of like, there's more greatness in the return on my investment than there is in the struggle, because we see good or bad.
Well, it goes back to the earlier lesson we did earlier, which is everybody kind of keeps an eye on the carrot, and the carrot is me in a nice outfit, or me in Cancun, or me wearing clothing that says I got that body, or that mate on my arm, or me being praised for my shape and my body, right? And we take our visual, we don't build the same relationship with the pains and the discomforts and the showing with the gym when I don't want to go. That's the same pleasure. I'm not saying you make that your carrot. I'm saying you gotta build comfort with it, acceptance of it. It's part of the same thing. I can't want to wear a beautiful suit and not want to go jogging. And when you go jogging, if you ain't been jogging a long time, it hurts when you first take off. Everything hurts. I'm talking about your shoulders hurt and you're using your legs, right? But the reality is that that's part of the same process of being in shape and all the happy things that go along with it. We just don't know how to, like we fall in love so much with these positive stories, we don't own the negative side of the stories. And the reason that's important is because as you scale things, if you don't know this is second order thinking. If you don't think about the negative things, Here's a rule of scaling. Stay with this rule. This is a dope-ass rule I'm about to teach you. Actually, Corey just taught it. He just taught it. When you scale something, realize something that's small down here will spin up to be something huge later on. It will create its own system of its own, right? So like, going back to the seatbelt example, the seatbelt becomes a whole new system that becomes a toxic system that can destroy this system over here. I mean that so many people get killed, people start saying, hey, let's just get rid of these car things. That's what's happened with the self-driving cars, right? Small incidents, if you look at how many times the cars worked versus how many times they didn't work, enough of those small and reporters jumping on top of it and people sharing stories and then the myth starts to build. Now it's a whole ecosystem in itself, right? So you gotta know effects because sometimes even a small effect can turn out to be a huge effect, but you gotta be thinking about that as a business person. Everything you do, hey, I'm gonna give everybody a reward for this. Will everybody receive that reward the same? What does that mean for performance by the end of the year? Right? So instead of you saying, I'm gonna make it a policy, maybe you say, hey, I wanna test this idea and see how it works. To discover, nah, it don't work. Because if we do that, 10 of you are gonna really work harder, the other 10 gonna become entitled. And be like, I want more money since you're giving away money. Why don't you pay me for this too? Or let's say you pay somebody, I'll show this effects of effect. Let's say I say, Jordan, I need you to help me with hope. And Jordan volunteers. I said, Jordan, man, thank you so much. I'm gonna give you $50 today. Jordan don't wanna help me no more. What do you mean he don't wanna help you no more? Because now I just told him his time value. He's like, I worked here for 5 hours, $10 an hour. But if Jordan was helping, man, I did a good thing. So if you don't see effects of effects, a lot of times your good becomes bad, or your bad can become good. Like sometimes a crisis can improve something, but it creates discomfort for something. That's a whole different level of thinking. Next, did we finish this slide?
Yes.
Next slide. Watch this.
When people did not consider the effects of the effects, when they tried to do something good or even just benign, and instead brought calamity, we can safely assume the negative outcomes weren't factored into the original thinking.
Slow that shit's so much fire. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Mm-hmm. I just said that. That's why I don't like the people like, I'm just being positive. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that means. That's no thinking. Positive is not thinking. Positive is just emotional expression of the moment. You're just trying to satisfy the moment. But I was doing a good thing. It's still stupid. It's still bad. It's still destructive. It still ain't helping nobody out. I'll give you an example of something that happened to my son, and I see what happened to a lot of men. My mother, Shakira, mother of my son, was trying to coddle and protect her son. Does that sound good? But it made him so fragile. She literally took the cocoon off too early. You see there's a lot of single mothers who are raising kids. They're so busy protecting the kids from this crazy world. The kid is not prepared to deal with the world. Do you know a father's role sometimes is to prepare the children for the real world? That's why we bring a lot of friction to the household. When you remove that energy from the household, so my mother was the friction and the love. Oh, my mama. So my mama would come at me like a dude and then come at me like a woman at the same time. Whoop my ass, tell me, I had to do that, but I love you, and it made me cry. You'd be like, this is crazy. You just too crazy for me, right? But she also raised this kid that says, oh, you can't tell me no. You can't tell me what I can't do. What? I can do anything. What? Who, you trying to stop me? Psh, ain't got a chance. My mama raised me with that, right? But I seen the other mother. I saw this guy in Berkeley Bowl, and he was a white male with his eyeliner on, and he's crying. Tall. And his mama holding him, oh, baby, don't cry. Oh, baby. I said, that's why he's crying. Mm-hmm. It feels good. Like, to a lot of liberals, they'd be like, no, what's wrong with you? She was comforting her son. No, that's why he's fragile in the first fucking place. Even my daughter don't get that. The other day I came in the house and she was crying about something, and I had to check her because she was coming in her mother room, and she was, I said, no, sit down, I gotta talk to both of you. I said, if I have to raise my voice, you better cut that crying out right now because you have to hear what I gotta say. She was, just like that. You're not doing this. Right? I'm the friction. It's okay.
right? But if you don't have me in the household, then you got to be the friction too. You got to be the friction. If you're a single parent, if you're a man, you got to be the love too. You can't be always friction. You're going to be coddling some nights. Oh, it's okay, God damn, it's okay. You don't even know how to do it right. Oh, it's okay. Come on, it's okay. You want a beer? Come on. It's like, you're the worst. Keep going. Next one. Keep going. We don't say slide. Don't
Yeah, we are.
Go back to the other slide. Yeah, keep going.
Very often, the second level of effects is not considered until it's too late.
So often we don't see the second level of effects until it's too late. Go ahead.
This concept is often referred to as the law of unintended consequences for this very reason.
This is when you're walking. So let me put this in a simpler, grounded level, because some of y'all are trying to get grandiose with this. You at work every day. You're working on your business. You're making good decisions, things that felt right. It all felt good. And then 6 months later, everything's going bad in your business and you're losing a lot of money. And you think because you don't take radical responsibility, the world's just fucked up and things just happen to me. Don't realize that all that shit happened because you never use second order thinking. And all the things that feel right is producing long-term fucked up life for you. You see that shit, how it happens? It's subtle. Yes, it does happen on a big scale. Like government does it all the time. Nonprofits come in, try to fix community and cause more damage. Activists try to tell you, hey, the white man's evil, but then turn the white man into a super guy. So now you're scared of the white man because they done told you all these horrible things the white man did. That the white man be like, I did all that? What? Right? so you don't even know you did that. It's like, well, we did it. Man, I didn't know all that. Boo, boo, boo. You'll be like, but the reality is that, so these are unintended consequences, right? But how unintended consequences works at work is that you're feeling your way through things. This is why I cannot fucking stand when you don't try to learn what you do and you constantly learn. You're just trying to feel your way and figure it out. This is how you victimize yourself, by just figuring it out. You can't just figure it out, because then you're gonna be victim of unintended consequences. You didn't tend to make all those dumbass decisions. You didn't tend to neglect all these decision points. Decision points is 5 things happen in front of you and you don't realize you need to make a decision because you know that was a decision point. You just kind of like, oh, okay, well, I don't know. It worked itself out. Oh, okay. Well, she's just mad. Oh, okay, well, I just gave them this. They're happy now. Okay. Look, just do your job. Okay, they eventually got it right. Okay. But there was hella decision points when you should have made a decision and made some adjustments, but you can't even see all those micro decision points because guess what? You don't know second order thinking. You think as long as it feels good today, it all worked out, we had a good day, the money came in, we cool. 6 months from later, your business is about to close and you think it's some outside causation when it's your poor decision making because you don't practice second order thinking. Is that shit cold? Like your level of awareness to run a business, you don't get to be superficial or pop. Pop culture is fucking superficial. Pop culture is fucking superficial. Pop culture, pop music, that shit is fucking superficial. When you run a business, people, they read articles about everything. You bring pop culture to them, they're like, what the fuck is this? Hardcore hip hop, hardcore modern day hip hop is trash. It's fucking trash. Fuck all that trying to be nice because it's the culture. Culture my ass. It's trash. And yet you defend it and don't realize it's shrinking your thinking so you can't see second order thinking, so you don't see your decision points, and you're a victim of happy decisions and good days. Because you're just trying to figure it out. I did everything I thought would work. Kind of did this. It landed cool, made some money. You got short-term response for long-term losses. I don't think y'all understand how cold that is. Second order thinking is the coldest, hidden, invisible. It will make you feel like you're being attacked by some invisible energy. The white man won't let us. No, your second order thinking won't let you. Because most of the things you're victim to is poor. You ever see somebody go, the IRS came for me? No, they didn't. You didn't make the decisions. This woman tripping. No, she's not. You didn't make the decisions. My kids, oh my God. No, it's not. You didn't make the decisions. You didn't know that was a decision point. Nor were you seeking. You were just copying and pasting what you saw other people do. You watch TV on business and family and culture, and you just copying that shit. You go to social media, you watch social media on family, business, and culture, you just copying that shit. You ain't thought through none of this shit. You ain't watched the end results. You ain't looked at no historical examples of different patterns and different systems. You're not watching science and biology. You're not watching none of that shit. When you get free time, you watching pop. And when that shit go bad, you be like, I don't understand what's going on. Now, let's do that reverse thing. Let's say you finally do turn online and you start paying attention to things. You start seeing decision points and patterns. You start realizing that everything positive is all bad. Sometimes when everything's going good, it's going bad, right? Do you realize that when you speak on those things to other people, they think you crazy? That's like me saying there's an energy in this room, and if you don't change chairs, it's gonna fuck you up. You're like, oh, I'm out of here. This dude crazy. That's exactly what it feels like when you see systems. This is why you realize you can't talk to everybody about what you're doing, because you're literally saying things they can't even digest because there's no they're pop. They only look at what's in front of them. You're looking at all the full dimension, all the full angles. You're around the whole cube looking at every different angle. And they're like, you're doing too much. Oh my God, that's too much. That's too deep. What the fuck are you talking about? But they missed something. Your life is consistent. Theirs is disrupted. Your life is under control. Not complete control, you're never in control. But your life is more or less something you want, not something you're victimized by. And it's because you move in the invisible space. Here's the other thing too. People can even know you move in invisible space, but if they don't move in invisible space with you, they can't, they'll say, yeah, I acknowledge you're in invisible space, but then come at you like, why don't you see the way I'm telling you what I'm saying, or why don't you get what I'm coming from? And you're like, or if you say, like, if I say to you, hey, you should put that stick over there, they'd be like, no, you be doing too much. See, you always trying to be just doing too much. Oh my God. I see shit you can't see. And here's the thing you don't do. You don't never leverage understanding and go, well, why should I put the stick over there, Nana? I'm prepared to share it with you. But instead, you are in the comfort zone of pop not knowing. You don't know how to walk into the space of understanding. Is that shit cold? Is this translating? Is my mic? Is it on? Mm-hmm. Earth to China. Like, what the fuck, right? Like, this shit is really heavy because a lot of the complexities in your life is choices you're not making, or you're making poor decisions because it just felt good, and because you don't use second order thinking, which is, this feels good, but what does this mean? This feels bad, but what does this mean? Do you realize when I go to the gym, it always feels bad to me, but I know what it means, and I get excited about what it means? Go ahead, Corey. Hey, I think the cold part too is how sometimes people will complain that, and they prayed about it and all this stuff, and they don't seem to be getting their answers. When their answers be in their face, it be coming to them. That person tried to supply the answer, but they just brushed it off and just went dark because they didn't want to hear it, and that happens all the time. Or they just, I don't got no mentors. I don't got nobody to talk to. Like, it'd be hella motherfuckers standing there to talk to. Mm-hmm. And I think the damage that gets done is that they'll spread the word that there's nobody there when there are people there. All the time. You know, we're 8 billion people, you're like, you're alone. Mm-hmm. That shit crazy to me. And it's really, and you never ask the question, hey, Court, no. Keep your eyes on me. I'm having problems finding a mentor. Help me understand what I'm doing to stop mentors from showing up. As opposed to, hey, mentors be hating on me. They don't want to help me because I'm a black woman and shit, They don't respect me. If I was a black man, they'll show up. Sit your ass down. Next slide. Okay, we'll do one more slide and this is it.
second order effects occur even when something simple like adding traction on tires.
Right.
It seems like such a great idea because the more you have, the less likely you are to slide, the faster you can stop, and thus the safer you are. However, the second order effects are that your engine has to work harder to propel the car. You get worse gas mileage, releasing more detrimental carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and you leave more rubber particles on the road.
Causing illnesses. You see how like that's once again, when you start making decisions in your business and you're smiling, you're happy, you're excited, you was able to finally buy this item, things are going great and everybody loves it, but you're not looking at the cost, the long-term effect, the management, the maintenance, the complete impact to your business, the rebranding of your company. None of that shit's considered. You block out all dialogue. I can't tell you how many times, okay, Mashama, my business partner, he'll call me up. Man, no, I found this software. It's hella tight.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna cost us about 20 G's a year. It's gonna solve all of our problems. Ask him what I do every time. Prove it. Prove it. Because if it doesn't align with their patterns, like how are you gonna align the patterns to that software? If their patterns don't match that software and the software don't align with their patterns, it never gets used. It's the only solution in the world I'm going to spend money for that never get used. And so at the end of the day, because I'm thinking about second order effect, what do people usually do when software gets on their table? What's the learning? How long will it take them to learn? How much friction is there? What is their day-to-day like? How much bandwidth do they have to even focus on that kind of software? What are they experts in? How comfortable with their change? Will this be a serious incentive for change? I'm going through this whole list of thoughts, and when I get to those thoughts, I'm going, I'm not spending $25,000 that easy, bro. Give me something else. Or some of y'all would spend $25,000. You're like, well, because at the end of the day, we need the software, and this is going to do this, and this. You realize, yeah, but they're not going to do that. And if we want to do that, we're going to think about a whole bunch of other changes, and then we want to spend that money for them other changes. So it's 25 grand, so we're going to cost me 100 grand over a 2-year time. But because you focus on this 25 grand, you thinking, oh, this is going to be a big boost to my business. Yeah, but all the stuff that costs that goes along, buy a car. Buy a luxury car, people. Buy a luxury car and let somebody just ding your car. If Shakina goes to get her car panel fixed, it's about $500 per panel. Go get a Mercedes panel fixed. $1,000 to $5,000 per panel. Depends on the electronics behind the panel. Oh, this is so expensive and the maintenance is so high. Shut up. Please. Because second order thinking tells you, damn, that's a nice ass car. I love Range Rovers. I would never buy a Range Rover. Second order thinking said, don't you dare fuck with a Range Rover. You know the reason I haven't bought a Tesla yet? Because Oakland's bipping. I think Teslas are smart. I love this car. If my house had the ability to run the right wiring to it, I could charge it at home, cool. I am not about to sit nowhere for 30 minutes in Oakland like a sitting duck. I'll be armed so much, they swear to God I'm a security guard. Keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving. Like that's too much. So I need to be able to get that gas station for 5 minutes. I'm out. I'm looking around the whole time. You know when I get gas, I step away from my car. I have a luxury vehicle. You think I'm gonna stand next to that vehicle? If the dude's running up in that car, I'll be like, yeah, he's in there. Y'all ready? He's in the store. That dude, he's in the store. You ready to go in there? And when they run in the store, I'm gonna run the opposite way. Get this motherfucking car. Right? I know this is real. This is real. I'm not about to sit here because I'm a buff dude, and I know my anger. And if you hit me with that gun, I'm gonna try to remember you because I'm coming to kill you. If I find out where you are, I won't even call the police. I'm gonna shoot your house up. Then I'm gonna call the police and be like, man, you better get here. I'm that dude. I'm really on the other side when I go to the other side. But second order thinking tells me, don't position yourself like that. Don't go a certain place. Don't do certain. Because if this happened, this begets this. Now I'm sitting in jail. If I'm sitting in jail, what the fuck is I gonna do for 5-10 media?
What's the difference between second order thinking and fragility?
What do you mean?
When you think about, the thing that came to my mind was, oh no, you better not do that because X, Y, and Z. I know that there is a difference between the two, but what is the difference between the two?
Yeah, okay, that's a good one. I got it. Fragility is not knowing second order thinking. Is basing your is not using first principle thinking and second order thinking has to work together. Meaning you have to know your assumptions.
Okay.
Right? So for example, downtown Oakland is suffering in business wise because bipping is happening in Oakland, but there's a lot of businesses that are thriving downtown Oakland. You drive downtown Oakland right now, there's a lot of places packed, thriving, right? But a lot of people are at home watching TV and they're going, oh my God, I can't go down downtown Oakland. Or some of y'all don't want to drive on the freeway, but if you look at how many people drove on the freeway, you're at some percentage of people who got shot on the freeway, right? The chances that it happened to you is the same as if you go spend $1 right now and win a lotto. And if you don't win, are you surprised? Really? Really? So fragility could be the situation where if you try to use second order thinking and assumptions and fear combined together, you could be locked up in your house. You know, if I leave the house, somebody could drive by, could shoot, the bullet could bounce off that tree, hit me in the head, I could be put in a coma, then I lose my wife, I wake up, and then I die from disappointment. Can't do that. What? Right? That's possible. People make those kind of extreme assumptions, right? What I'm saying is that this is why you can't listen to the street language, as I said earlier. Street language is full of a whole bunch of horrible second order thinking. If you do this, then this gonna happen, and this happen, and you know the white man gonna let that happen. Do not project your limitations on me. That was my famous phrase back then, right? Where when I looked at the system, and I said, well, let me see, is this true? Because it's an assumption to me. I looked at the system, I was like, there's no proof that this is gonna happen. There's no white organization that's focused on like, every time black people get past this economic level, we're gonna shut that shit down. Right? So you can't take street myths. You're going to have to learn. When I say read the boring shit, you're going to have to learn. And as you learn, like I said earlier, if you don't learn systems, you don't learn psychology, you don't learn all the disciplines, you don't learn patterns, you don't learn all these different things, you can't use second order thinking because you will become a victim of fragility. So you're right. If you're learning, it becomes a superpower. So you'll even know how to also, in reverse, make one move that 2 moves later you win.
Second order thinking
That,
is
you
more
don't go
about
so far. You don't even go. By the way, you can't go 5 moves on second order thinking. It's usually like 1 or 2 moves.
it's more about seeing options than it is about not making a decision.
Yeah, it's about seeing options. Yes,
Yeah.
it's about options. So it's not about not what you're not going to do. It's about what can you do, what makes sense. When this, like for example, ignoring this could cause A, B, and C. Can I handle that? No, I can't. This is a bad idea. Okay, you're at home. You're making $1 million a year. You're netting $1 million a year. Amazon box comes in and it's the wrong item. It costs you $50. Do you take it back to the? Do you take it down to UPS? No, it's lost. Only way you take it to UPS is it just happens to be on the way and you got free time, a lot of fucking free time. But if you're making $1 million a year, second order thinking says if you keep thinking about that kind of stuff, you're gonna steal bandwidth from things you need to be thinking about. Let it go.
Hey, and I'm gonna tell you that shit is hard. I ordered some Gorilla Glue from Amazon, $8. Gorilla Glue. I need glue.
That's what you use for your hair. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm not calling you a gorilla, bro, but I mean that perm is tight. But go ahead.
I spent an hour and a half looking for it when I could have just ordered another one from Amazon. But you gotta constantly remind yourself to think like that because it's a new thought, and you gotta be playing math. You gotta be doing the math in your head as much as you can because the shit is not easy.
Gas just went up to $5.50 to $5.79 for super unleaded, right? If you drive 20 blocks to get 10 cents off.
Right.
You go with this? It's like also too when you add up how much more you just paid, it might be $3 that you just spent 45 minutes to make an adjustment, get $3 off your gas, right? This was old Shakina when she was going to Costco. Like, Shakina, your business is too large now. What the fuck are you doing going to Costco? The amount of time you just spent at Costco, the amount of loss you just took from there, opportunity loss, right? The opportunity cost. Her opportunity cost was huge. But your brain, when you're doing second order thinking, your brain starts to check everything in your life. Like, wait a minute, does this make sense? Your child's at your house, right? And they break something you like. Your first impulse is your hood. Motherfuck, I told them not to play next to this vase. Second order thinking says, but if I attack them for this vase, I'm suppressing creativity. Let me just talk to them about how to show to this kind of space, but also not attack their creativity. But if you don't have second order thinking, you're going to have the natural response of copy and paste what my parents did. And when the effects happen, here's the funny part. When you don't have second order thinking, you can't even rewind the tape and figure out how it started. You feel like your child is some alien causing you problems because you're so impulsive on the first level. You don't see all the things you did here, which are all innocent and good intent, cause all this fucked up behavior. Is that shit code? Second order thinking is like, if you don't practice that shit, you are literally a blind victim that think the world is attacking you and it's all you. So radical responsibility, second order thinking, it's the same ecosystem. It's not the same thing. It's within the same ecosystem. You should always think about, if I do this, what does that mean? If I copy and paste this, what does that mean? If I don't do this, that's what how you thought I got back to like praising the Bible? I walked away with the Bible. I walked away with the 90s. I'm out with y'all. Let's go. And that's why I was seeing all these black people with mental health problems. And I watched how grandma got through the 60s, which was way worse than shit y'all dealing with. And she went to church. How my mama went through some shit and was at church. And that's what I'm saying, oh, church is hella important. That's why, when y'all see me praising Pastor Chris, because I also know Pastor Chris is real. I know a lot of pastors, trust me. Y'all don't want to hear this conversation. But also, let me say this too. It's going to sound crazy. If your pastor committed something wrong in front of you, but is running a successful, progressive institution, I ain't got a problem with it. I ain't got a problem with it. Now, it's different. He's habitually, all these women are sitting in the front row, they're all pregnant by him. That's a problem. Right? I ain't say pimping ass pastor, right? But let's say y'all saw Pastor Chris at a bar lit, turned up, right? He wearing a Warriors, he ain't wearing his Lakers shirt no more. Right? He got on sunglasses, he got on a crop top, hanging out with Josiah and stuff. And let's say we remove the crop top. He's gonna kill me for that one. Okay, let's say he's there wearing the Warriors. He's gonna kill me about the Warriors too. But let's say he's wearing a Warriors jersey and he's cursing. If you leave his church and you're progressing in that environment, you got the game fucked up. Because it goes back to that list. You didn't get comfortable with the other side. If y'all don't think that man go through something, I'm not saying I don't know what his imperfection or perfection is. To me, he looks perfect. God damn, Pastor Chris be looking so perfect sometimes, it'd be bothering me. But I know he's imperfect. I know if you go into his house after he came out the restroom, you doing the same thing. Hey man, close that door. It's something imperfect about that man, right? But that's what makes him amazing. You got to embrace both sides of him to see the value of what he brings to the game. That's a hard one to stomach. Some of y'all don't let nothing come in unless it's perfect when nothing's perfect. That's why nothing comes in. See where I'm going with that? I'm not advocating for Pastor Chris to go to a bar and get drunk with a Warriors jersey on. What I'm suggesting is that if y'all saw him like that and you at this point can't listen to what he has to teach you, the problem's not him, it's you. That being said, as they say in Russia, I'll see y'all next week.